Welcome back to the North American LCS. I'm Julian Pastry Time Car, and I'm thrilled to be back on the desk for our second match of the split with none other than the unflappable Aiden Zarian Moon.
Absolutely true. Cannot be flapped at all.
Well, the next match we have to welcome the revamped rosters of two teams who escaped relegation at the end of last split, but are looking to make their mark in 2017. It's Phoenix1 versus Echo Fox. Phoenix1 retained their foundation, added a ton of star power, and Zig and Inori did do a lot of work together towards the end of the split. P1, though, I feel like they needed a bit more threat in the mid and bot lane, so they picked up Ryu of a great showing at Worlds on HGK and Arrow from KT roster, with Adrian from Immortals in the bottom lane, just to round things out.
Yeah, and definitely Phoenix1 already were on an upward trajectory in the second half of the split, going 5-4 in their overall record, and now they get to start day one with their full roster, which was not something they had going for them last split. And so Inori, returning from that roster, it was his rookie split, and he showed that he can definitely carry from the jungle role. But now, he has a world semifinalist in the mid lane and an OGN champion in the bottom lane. This roster doesn't have to be the Inori show, so I want to see how is his playstyle going to develop with these teammates in this firepower in these other lanes.
Well, we'll have to find out. But Phoenix1, of course, weren't the only team with high-profile pickups in the off-season with their opponents, Echo Fox, adding 2014 world champion Looper to the starting lineup.
Yeah, Looper, of course. This matchup is going to be up against Zig, and it's his first test in North America, and it'll be a bit of a barometer on where he stands, because there has been some skepticism about can Looper play without Mata pulling the strings in the bottom lane, so he's going to have to carry a little bit up against Zig. Of course, last year, Echo Fox, they did suffer from a lack of pressure in the jungle, and hopes are that the new rookie jungler, Acadian, will bring some much-needed agency that will unlock his solo lanes, which have absolute star power, like you were saying here. And meanwhile, on the other side, Inori, he might exert pressure in the bot lane. So we're going to see what happens with that new Phoenix1 duo in the bottom side. So eyes are on the jungle for this matchup. Who can control the pace of the game?
Certainly does feel like both teams made some good upgrades, but even though Arcadian is new to the scene, he's pretty confident in how he stacks up against his opponent.
I think actually a lot of people have misconceptions about Inori. Like, he actually played really bad last split, and he had like 4 good games where he cheesed people pretty much. But he did really well when he cheesed. Like, he's very good at playing from ahead, but I don't know. My experience, at least, like playing against him in like practices and stuff, is like, all right, guys, you gotta play safe for the first 5 minutes, and then if he doesn't cheese you or anything like that, nothing weird happens, like, he just sucks. So yeah, I don't know.
Certainly some strong words there from Arcadian.
I mean, Inori doesn't know what he's talking about. Inori, you call it cheese, he just calls it alternative strategies. He's carrying his team, he's doing what it takes.
Certainly does. Well, the first test for this squad is about to start, so let's get ourselves into the starting lineups. To kick things off on the blue side, it is Echo Fox with a new roster. In the top lane, it is Looper, the jungler Arcadian, mid lane Froggen as always, bot lane Keith, support Gate, and coach Tinkiro.
And facing off on the red side against them, it is Phoenix1, starting day one with their full roster. And it starts like this. In the top lane, Zig. Jungle returning, it is Inori. Mid, Ryu right off H2K in the World Semifinals. In the bot lane, it's going to be Arrow. And support Adrian with Coach Fly, being reunited with Adrian.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's kind of cool to see just how much these teams have changed. We saw TSM, of course, and Cena. And last time, they haven't changed too much as far as last split goes, just added some few things here and there. These teams made some pretty radical changes, but certainly seems like good upgrades across the board for both sides.
Exactly. That's the thing is, Reginald, he was talking to you about how, they got all these guys that are imported, but do they know how to slot them into a team? Do they know how to use them? I know the teams have picked up things like translators and trying to integrate them more into the squad. Well, sometimes the coach is also, the Korean speaker in the case of Fly. So now Phoenix1, they have a Korean coach. They're trying to actually figure out how to work with that, how to get this language down, because they have to communicate mid-game as well. You also have to be able to have somebody who can translate, who can talk back and forth. And so that is another struggle here. And I know that these teams, there have been visa issues and things like that, where Phoenix1, they've only been able to scrim for about 8 days now. So what does this team look like coming through, and what do they look like developing throughout the split? Because if they can get their feet under them, or if Echo Fox can get their feet under them, there is a lot of questions here. Both teams are quite the enigma when it comes to how far will they go.
And I think the nice thing is, you mentioned coaches. We've seen Pick and Ban already make a pretty, I'd say, significant impact just on our first series. We're going to get ourselves in the Champs League pretty soon, as the crowd's clearly very excited about what's happening over there. But the coaches also have a strong say in Pick and Ban as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing that we've seen a couple times already, that people have missed bans. But it happens a lot in mixed language teams from what I've been seeing, because everybody gets to ban now. It's not just coach talks to the top laner, this is what we're banning. You have to go through each one. Okay, AD carry, now I have to communicate with you. You ban this champion. And so sometimes we'll see misbans and stuff like that. So you have to be very in charge of the pick ban. There's no goofing off anymore.
Certainly not. Well, we'll see what the teams have in store for the first game here. As we are into champions, so like Zyra, the first ban there in phase 1 from Echo Fox. Camille following there for Phoenix1. We are expecting at least the first 6 bans to feel fairly standard, as Syndra is the second there from Echo Fox.
Yeah. On the red side, it will usually be the Camille, LeBlanc, and Rengar. So we'll see what happens here. I know Phoenix1 do love playing Rengar themselves, so it may be a little bit of a challenge here because Acadian loves that champion as well.
Well, we'll see what happens after the Malzahar ban there from Phoenix1. Echo Fox do have their third ban for this phase to try and take it. Here you mentioned a lot of those strong junglers. We'll see if it's maybe more of a targeted ban or if it's just something pretty simple, which it is. It's Ryze there for Echo Fox as their final ban.
Yep. Coming into this last one, LeBlanc, Rengar, Ryze were all up. Echo Fox decided to ban the Ryze away. So now at least LeBlanc or Rengar, one of the two will make it through this pick ban phase, and possibly both.
Well, we'll see what Phoenix1 want to leave up. They'll ban Ashe, actually, which is quite a curious ban. Very popular AD carry, arguably the best AD carry you can pick, but leaves this open. There's the LeBlanc.
So Phoenix1, I mean, you can pretty much insta-lock Rengar right now because Inori loves this champion. It's the one that he took down TSM with. We'll see if they pick it up here. And yeah, there it goes. Just like, it's like 30 seconds on the clock. 30 seconds is way too much for them.
Well, Varus was pretty much instantly picked as well. So Varus, Rengar will be the next two for Phoenix1. Let's see what Echo Fox have here for their last 2 picks of this first phase. Looks like Arcadian's already looked in Rek'Sai for himself, so kind of picking a strong champion. And there's Jhin actually for Keith as well.
Now there's something to be said about being prepared for champion select because there's only 30 seconds for each pick. The faster you pick on your side, the less time you give your enemies to actually deliberate and speak about it. Phoenix1 now have 10 seconds to figure out what are we going to ban. Take the bans into consideration, what they want to ban next, and it might be that there they go.
Yep, there's Maokai actually for Phoenix1, so pretty standard stuff, but we are, of course, going to move into ban phase 2. So the second phase of the draft will start. Now each team will get 2 more bans apiece. Phoenix1 are going to start and actually ban Kennen. So mostly a top lane and potential flex for the solo lane and AD carry as well.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen it all about, and Kennen was played into Maokai pretty frequently the other day.
There's Orianna banned for Echo Fox though, so pretty standard mid lane ban getting taken out. Maybe trying to pinch the pool there.
Exactly, trying to pinch that pool because Syndra is already off the table. Ryze, now you have LeBlanc, Orianna. That leaves though Talia. We also have Cassiopeia. Like, it is a very large pool that they would have to pinch here.
Can be difficult, certainly, as Phoenix1. We'll see what their final ban of the draft will be here for game 1. And Thresh is actually the ban, so a very specific ban being aimed at Gate there.
I mean, if anybody knows Gate, it is his former team of Phoenix1. Just swapping over this split to Echo Fox.
Definitely an interesting targeted ban, but I mean, likely a comfort pick there for Gate. Lots of support players love their Thresh, so they'll just kind of stick one over there. And Echo Fox, what's the final ban here? It is Karma, so another support ban.
Yep. You would assume it was Karma. I was going through the support tier list, considering the mages were already taken off. They banned Thresh. You pick Karma. What happens on the other side? So now, Phoenix1, solo lane.
All right. Locked in. Okay, so pretty safe stuff here. Could be top lane for Zig, could be mid for Ryu.
It's most likely that mid for Ryu there because they already have the Maokai locked in, unless they're going to do something really crazy and Adrian's speaking of those large champion pools. But we'll see what ends up happening here on the opposite side. The Nautilus most likely to be taken.
Yep. Pretty safe pick there. And there's Tom Kench actually locked in. So, been a pretty popular support.
And so the support being picked here last for Phoenix1, they very highly value having a good support matchup, and that's why they didn't pick it earlier. Despite they had the opportunity to, you could already pick your Lissandra into LeBlanc, knew that that was going to come through. And so you now get to just cap it off, know exactly what they're going to have in that bottom lane. And the support matchup, like a lot of people have been saying, is what dictates the pace of the lane early on.
Yep, you can see it looks like the final pick here will be Nami for Adrian. So going to lock that one in and finalize a double range bottom lane here. Kind of interesting draft as everything fell through. Standard AD carries with Ashe being the only ban, so Jhin and Varus kind of make sense as nobody else wanted to ban other AD carries. Standard tanks in the top lane, very standard junglers, but it feels like the power's kind of weighted in Inori's hands on one side with the Rengar, and on Froggen's side on the other hand for Echo Fox with that LeBlanc.
Yeah, but we do see both teams playing to their strengths. We talked about the solo laners for Echo Fox being usually where they're going to want to play here with Acadian. Early ganking jungler with the Rek'Sai being picked up rather early. They have a shoving top laner, which will do rather well in this matchup against the Maokai. And then they have this roaming mid laner for Froggen. Froggen's problem was he didn't have enough jungle pressure to actually pressure mid laners out to give him the ability to go help bottom lane, to go help top lane last split. And now he has a champion that can help him do that, and he has an aggressive jungler that if this rookie can play with confidence on stage, could free up Echo Fox to roam about the map.
Well, we'll have to see. It looks like a decent draft for both teams. I'm sure they're happy with the picks as it comes through, but you're right. It seems like the names we expected to try and do well here do have the strong champions there. Again, Ryu, it does feel like he had to fall down to maybe not quite as strong a champion, but he'll play it safe with the Lissandra. Should be just fine.
Yeah, it's more of the counter to the LeBlanc where you can just ulti her and interrupt her move block and make sure that she can't escape and possibly blow her up. But that's level 6 onward. We're talking about team fights for that. This game is going to be focused in the early game for those junglers. Where does Acadian go? What does Inori do with this signature Rengar of his?
That's true. I mean, it was not a huge pick when he managed to take it, and upset, of course, TSM. Now it's definitely a strong meta pick, consistently bad so far in the early days of the league, and Inori's going to have to show up on a champion that everyone knows he can play.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got a great level 3. We'll see how he affects the lanes early, but we're on the Rift.
Certainly are. Let's have a go. Here is Fox and P1 will take the Rift for our second series, I suppose, of the day, but their first game of the year.
It's our first series.
That's true. Always fun. Like you said, junglers very strong in the current metagame, so we'll have to see where those early parts go. Acadian, he's the new guy, the young gun. Inori, I would say somewhat proven, but still wants to show just how good he is.
Well, literally, Inori has had half a split to show us what he has. We talk about NALCS rookies, he only got half a split. He didn't even get a full one to really show us what he's made of. And so now starting day one on Phoenix1, luxury he didn't have last split like I talked about, he is really hungry as well to just prove that he is a jungler that you have to deal with, that you have to put pressure on. But how do you put pressure on a Rengar?
Well, I guess we'll find out, because you can see Inori and Acadian currently facing off against each other. Curious, Keystone Master is actually there, particularly on the Echo Fox side. Courage of the Colossus on Rek'Sai. Not that uncommon, but kind of definitely going for more of a tank play.
Yeah, the Rek'Sai is one of those utility tanks that you can play in the jungle. One of the only ones at the moment that can really utilize the Courage of the Colossus mastery that's in that top tier. But it helps her out immensely well. So just knock up pretty much on demand. Great way to get a shield, especially when you're engaging later on in the game in team fights.
Well, we'll have to see how the starts are. Inori and Zig will team up for this red buff start. See just how much help Inori gets there from Zig. And looks like red buff start for Arcadian as well. So opposite jungle start sides here for either team, as Arrow's just going to safely walk into lane. Didn't want anything too bad to happen. It's been kind of hiding in their brush for a little while, but they'll start the lane push down as Gate does get a nice bit of harass there onto Adrian.
Yeah, the lane matchup in this bottom lane definitely favors P1 early on. And Gate kind of took one for the team there. He took the Tom Kench to make sure that when Inori jumps on people, he has somebody that can deal with it. The Rengar jumps onto your Jhin, just eat him up, make sure that you're all good to go.
You can see they're trying to play nice and aggressive. Gate sacrificing some of the early health just to make sure the lane doesn't get pushed too hard here, but Adrian and Arrow should be just fine. Adrian does have the wind speakers, and I believe the ebb and flow skilled up already, so should be able to keep Arrow pretty healthy. And we'll see when these next 3 creeps go down, kind of what happens in the level 2.
See, they get the push there. Level 2 will be hit about the same time. Inori, though, already on the bottom side of the map, he has gone buff to buff, and now he's picking up Scuttle Crab. Can't get him level 3.
No, really
values
values the vision, I guess, which is interesting, but can I go over to that Gromp side, or unless he has something really sneaky. Nice blast cone usage.
It's a little strange because Rengar can clear Krugs and Raptors incredibly well with the Q and the empowered Q, but we'll talk about that in a moment here because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make a play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great flash, but it's not enough, still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai.
What is it with rookies in the jungle getting first blood today? Acadian comes out on top, ganks Ryu, gets the flash out of him too, and sets up Froggen.
And we wonder where the pressure was going to go early, and pretty simple gank there through the mid lane, but does get LeBlanc the early kill. Summoner was burnt for Froggen, had to commit the ignite, but Ryu with no flash and now no teleport has to get himself back to the line.
But they're trying to sniff this out because it's a repeat game
Oh,
for Acadian.
I love this. Ryu now going to get locked up again. No, the chain not enough. There's going to be a second. Acadian does it again.
But Inori, he was on the side and he's going to throw it.
Oh, ton of buffle. That's going to hurt. Inori cannot get the counter kill.
Oh! BM there from Acadian. Oh, he saw what Inori did to TSM, and Acadian's like, nope. He said he was bad. He said Inori wasn't particularly good. And now he's trying to call him out here.
Well, Froggen's here. Loop is run down as well. Hook's not going to connect. Good little dodge from Inori. And there's a bit of fun back.
NA junglers, man. High quality mechanics at BM, I will say that. But Ryu, the teleport back in, Acadian was on the top side of the map. This is actually the first one for the first blood here. where he comes through, goes back over, and they know he went off to the left side of the map. Inori checks the Raptors, sees that they're still up, and yeah, that's just a bad call there. Ryu playing way too far forward. When you TP back to lane, you TP back to those minions just to get a little bit further up in the lane, the jungler will repeat gank. It's just over and over again.
So greedy from Ryu, and it does cost him there as the first 2 kills of the game will go over to Arcadian. Bottom lane, we did see some trades back and forth, but CS and Health is looking relatively even, so we'll see if this develops into anything. But Arrow, we are expecting him to be such a strong AD carry, but he doesn't have to really show up in the lane. Could be in the mid to late game, and those team fights where he really starts to shine.
Yeah, Arrow is usually about the utility, known for his Ashe, known for his Jhin. The Varus, oh, it's new to the meta right now, and we'll see how he does on it, but they definitely have a little bit better lane here. It hasn't manifested itself as a CS advantage, though, and there hasn't really been pressure on this lane just yet either.
No, and Froggen has certainly received those 2 assists. Maybe would have liked one of the kills, but you can see the mid and jungle here for Echo Fox just starting to exert some pressure. Arcadian getting deep wards, they're going to take jungle away, and we wondered where Arcadian's pressure was going to go. We know Froggen is a player that loves to call for help. He can do so much with it, and they've kind of both had a good start here. Can't wait to see the synergy and kind of how this develops in the game.
Exactly, and that's the thing is Froggen, it's like he needs his jungler to kind of camp for him a little bit. It wasn't working out last split when they kept having to like swap junglers a little bit. Non-aggressive junglers were coming in, and now they just have a guy who was known as like playing Rengar all the time, converted top laner, I believe, from about a year and a half ago, but still played things like Rengar up top. So Arcadian, very aggressive, but Inori trying to punish.
Yeah, another tunnel buffer. Inori can
Here
chase
Ryu.
here. Ryu looking for something. No ulti, gonna lock it down. W's there for the snare. Inori looking to follow in. Leaps in, but Froggen's gonna try and turn around. Arcadian stands his ground and fights him, but Inori is gonna leap back in. And now Froggen, where can he go? Arrow forced to fight. K flashes after him. Froggen took out Inori on the other side, but Arrow isn't gonna go down. Keith able to take him out, and now Ryu's gonna try and run away. Froggen, can he keep it going? Needs to move forward, but no ulti's probably no hope. It's just the 1-for-1.
Yeah, and on the other side of the map, though, Arrow does get taken down. So, overall, Echo Fox, I believe they come up with a 2-for-1 across the map.
Looking good. Looper, the zoning hook perhaps, but still pushing up in a Zig, and has certainly been winning that last trade by the looks of things. They're gonna drink his health potion and should be okay clearing those out. We tend not to see too much in the tank v tank matchup. Of course, look for those first teleports to really show us how the players are looking.
You get the shove advantage. They'll try to roam a little bit. We saw Looper roam down to the bottom side, and the Nautilus has a bit of a leg up in that. Also the fact that he has a Dark Seal now to help him out with the potions, but also give him a little bit more AP on top of it. Good by Ryu to come over and help. Inori has the push there, so Arcadian can't really get away, and the flashes are down. Good jump back in here from Inori, but then he actually got hit by the chain there. That was something that Ryu, it looked like he was trying to block, but it just snapped to Inori, and that was his demise there because Inori threw out the bola and got the root. Didn't go for the extra damage, was trying to keep the LeBlanc in one place. They thought they could finish her. Nope.
Nice trade there, certainly, but kind of good of Arcadian to know that I'm probably dead. I'm going to stand in health spot, and who did manage to get the kill back. Inori now going to do a bit more of his own jungle. The Arcadian's left this side of the map. He will take the Gromp down. Not 6 just yet, but still kind of working towards the next layer of experience. And after that kill down bottom lane, Keith and Gate looking pretty good here. BF swords have been purchased already by the AD carry, so parity as far as the items go, although Boots extra for Keith isn't too bad. But we maybe expected some pressure here. So far it's just been 2v2, and the kill for Fox there is nice as well.
Yeah, and you're expecting when level 6s come out that there will be some attention into the bottom lane from Inori and possibly Arrow trying to set something up. But you do always have to pay attention to the fact that there's a top catch. It's very difficult to make plays on this bottom lane because of that.
Well, that's a nice looking trade there. Keith will get scooped up to safety though by Gate as Ryu gets himself the blue buff. Inori going to continue jungling away. Ryu's going to go pretty safely over the wall to clear this all out. And Froggen certainly got the shove advantage now. Does have his Ignite and the flash back and ready. We'll see if he does start roaming and influence other areas, or maybe teams up again with Arcadian, trying to find Inori.
They know that Inori was on that side, though. Arcadian saw him with the Tremor Sense. They know that he's making a play towards bottom, so you'll see bottom lane back up a little bit there.
Ooh, Mike caught here. Oh no, he has got the pink ward. He's going to bait him, and now Inori going to get locked down. Teleport's going to be committed here. Gate's actually looking for Adrian down the bottom side. Scoops him up, and Keith knocked up by a bubble at the end. Now TP down for P1. Gate will take out Adrian, but Ryu's down here as well to take down Keith. Arrow still fighting away as best he can, and Gate has to run for it. Zig and Lupa have joined the party. Dominant Nori trying to get some damage back. Lupa is going to get crushed down. There's a double kill for Ryu. Arcadian still trying to find it out, but Froggen goes in. Killed arrows to Inori as Arcadian takes it down. Now Ryu trying to get his way out to safety. Froggen a little low as Gates bits him out, but there's the double kill for Zig. Froggen needs to keep running. Gets locked down. That should be enough, and there's the ace for Phoenix1.
And now it's equal in kills, 6-6 after that. Still a little bit of lead for Echo Fox, but P1 back into this game.
Wonderful, bloodthirsty game here. It's not even been 10 minutes, Irene. And we already have our first ace in the series. Great counter TPs there. A mess of a fight as we're going to watch this one again.
It's just skirmishing happening all over the map here, and it's definitely a little bit of a better composition for P1 to do that. They have Lysandra, they have Rengar, you have all of these guys that kind of want to scrap a bit. Looper actually comes in with ultimate, and he never gets to use it here, so he just gets locked up there. Great from Ryu to use the ultimate on him, not saved for the LeBlanc, because it ends up being the most value because the CC is off the table now. Gate then tries to take out Ryu, not enough damage yet with the W, and Zig with his W up just barely. Yeah, Looper TP'd into that fight. Ulti and Flash, and apparently didn't get either of them off, just locked up.
Yeah, and the other side was Zig did so much work in her team fight on Malco. He's already a strong team fighting tank, and Lupa dying instantly. They kind of just won the fight automatically. Lupa gonna push his way up. Zig's gonna walk his way back to lane, but evening up the gold almost, and as you said, evening up the kills.
Yeah, and evening up a lot of this score because Ryu 0-2 before that fight. He's sitting at four kills right now. Well, picked up one a little bit before that as well, but still, the fact that he was 0-2 at one point in this game, and now he's 4-2-2, 100% KP for Ryu, it's like this guy was getting bullied, and now he's finally back on top.
And Abyssal set to done means that P1 actually feel confident maybe starting this Infernal Drake. They will back away, so that they weren't getting that one without being spotted. So Echo Fox keeping on top of that vision as Ryu maybe looking for a pick here. Froggen as well off to the side. Mid laners can certainly lock someone down.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of power at both these mid laners, and the fact that Ryu is up a level already, just a little bit in CS here, or a little bit down in CS. That's the thing that's surprising to me is he was 0-2, didn't get the wave frozen on him, wasn't like, oh, this game's over, go next, because the Lysandra apparently claws her way back in off of roaming, making TP plays, having this ability to pick people off, and that's what the P1 competition is great at, is having small individual skirmishes in different places, but also pick. Everybody on this team has some form of CC, all 5 members of them are able to lock somebody up, but they also have ways to get around and traverse the map quickly.
Well, other than that, first Abyssal set, so the items aren't really looking too hot just yet as everyone's finishing kind of that first major item here. Big Infernal Drake up for grabs as well, so despite the early ace, both teams are still trying to get a foothold here on the map. Echo Fox up in gold by 1,000, which is nice, but P1 with a convincing team fight win after that big scrappy skirmish. CU kind of takes that first major fight at the objective, and I'm expecting some sort of action around the Infernal Drake, although right now, teams again confined to their lanes, just trying to farm it up and kind of reach a point where they feel comfortable pulling the trigger on some sort of big engage.
And it's going to depend on where the ward placement is as well and who can actually sneak in. Because you can see Echo Fox, there's a lot on the top side jungle here, but P1 have more wards allocated to the bottom side and a little bit of that control in river. So Inori, he'll feel more comfortable with this Rengar just going towards that bottom side in a little bit, or they're going to get Zig to place something here, find Acadian, maybe make a play off of this knowledge.
Looks like Inori's actually roaming up towards that area as well. Looks like he just pops the ward in and leaves though, so for now, P1 are trying to cover that side of the map. Froggen back to mid lane, will clear out what he can. Looking good here on the LeBlanc, does have the Abyssal finished up now as well, so a bit of extra power, despite all the kills Ryu did just get.
And Ryu's up already 600 gold on top of Froggen. Didn't go down in CS deficit off of the 2 kills. He even blew his TP at the beginning of the game after the first kill just to die again. And now he's completely recovered off of these fights. So P1, instead of slow bleeding, they just kept going for skirmishes, and it's been working out for them now. Just 700 gold down, but Echo Fox still have that lead.
Well, it seems like the pressure subsided a bit here as Arcadian was really in P1's space. He was mid lane and aggressively moving into Inori's jungle. trying to keep tabs on him, but after the fights, kind of has to back off a bit.
Yeah, he's got 1,000 gold up over Inori, but it's a Rek'Sai that didn't go for the Tiamat clear first. It looks like he might be going into that next here. Well, how do you transition that gold as Rek'Sai? You aren't really blowing people up. You're just tankier.
Good catch
And
potentially. Ryu locked up, but got some friends behind him, so Froggen can't commit for an all-in, and Lysandra with an ult. He's pretty hard to lock down. Arrow zoning some away. Tells Just get a tap there onto Keith. Nice little chain there for Froggen. Looking for it again. Second chain lands in. Ryu still has the ulti. Doesn't even pull it. Perfectly safe for now.
Yeah, he may get the teleport out of Ryu here. You can see Zig is roaming down because he shoved out the top wave. It's actually a pretty good timing for him to do so. Finds out where Acadian is. That gives the Inori the okay on the other side of the map to try and make a play or try to at least counter this, so he gets control of the bot side. And that's the TP back from Ryu, too.
Yep, does go back to mid lane. Not unsafe this time. 6-11 as well, so level 2 ulti is nice. Froggen with a nice bit of poke, though. Kind of a no Ryu as he's just gotten back to lane. But again, teams again moving around looking for their Drake, and P1 will start it again.
Yep, they know Acadian's on the top part of the map. They know that blue buff will be up shortly on their side, and Ryu
again needs to pull the ulti, does finally move it, and P1's going to teleport in for this. Now moving around, trying to force a fight. Gate's coming up as well. Tidal waves out. Who's he going to land on? No one just yet as Gate does it. Keep in time. And to get him under the safety of the turret, P1 blow a couple cooldowns straight back to Infernal Drake.
Yeah, only problem here is that Froggen, it'll be hard for him to contest this Infernal Drake because of the fact that he doesn't have enough mana to really make a large impact here. Maybe blow one combo. If that's enough, then it'll be worth it. Here comes the Looper teleport, and they're using the Mimic.
In ulti as well. Dragon does go over P1. Are they going to lose anything here? Zig straight to the front lines, locks down Looper. Last bullet from Keith's not bad. Varus ulti missing from arrows. Acadian's kind of got a flank hook. Lands in onto Zig, and now Acadian's on the other side. Looks for arrows. Rocket dives in, but he gets exhausted. That's going to be him taken down as Ryu manages to get it. Ulti's going to knock up Adrian. He dives down as arrow goes down as well. Ryu now caught up. Blast code's very nice. And now he's under the safety of his turret. Fox aren't going to chase it.
Yep, 2 for 2 in the overall there, so still very even game.
Seems like there's some trades there. P1 do get the Drake out of the deal, so a little bit extra on that objective, but we'll see if Fox can do anything else. Looks like they'll just catch this wave as that's pushed back in, and we'll have yet another even fight here.
Back to farming for a little bit, and then it'll be back to looking for those picks. And this was, once again, a fight that Echo Fox, they're trying to stop the Drake. Acadian looking for a way to get over and possibly steal it, so he ends up on the back side of the fight here. And then P1, they get split as well. They all decide to go different directions, so it's a 3-on-3 on this right side, and then a 2-on-1 on the left, actually, because Looper turns and makes the right decision here. He actually just sack the fight on the left side, not go for the Rengar and the Maokai, and instead try to lock down some members. So good target selection there from Looper to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, ulti, I think Ryu kind of killed Adrian there by flashing in front of him. So perhaps not too happy there. Another good little scuffle. As Keith actually in the top half of the map. Good damage onto Ryu, but again with the ultimates not feeling too much pressure. Looks like Protobot up for Ryu. So we'll have a bit of extra help, but of course some extra burst once he completes that. Fox though looking to rotate here at top lane. Kind of make a first real move for an objective for themselves here, and looks like they should be able to get it, although Race is on in bottom lane as Arrow's going to work on the turret, so it looks like it'll just be a trade, but it will be Fox getting that first bit of extra gold from that turret, but it is answered swiftly in bottom lane.
Yep, and it's also spread out across multiple members here, but they have the tempo, so they get to make a play and keep shoving. They may get damage on this tier 2.
A couple of caster creeps, and they die quickly, so not much there as far as offensive pressure goes. Fox, though, are looking to kind of get some wards down. Take a bit more space for themselves where they can. And oh, Ryu gets caught. Oh, he's going to follow, but that's all counted out by Ryu's ultimate on himself. Looping out. Going to get himself knocked up. There's a good eat there from Gate. Protects him from Zig. Froggen. Now CC it on the other side. Going to get jumped up, but he leaps away. Zig very tanky, though. Just going to keep the rest of Fox out of it. No one down this time, but yet another aggressive engage.
Yep, and it just seems to be whoever has the tempo start trying to make a play and the enemy jungle get control of it. Both teams understand that, and now they rotate to mid here off of a minion wave that's been shoved in. Ryu, no teleport, no way to get back here, and he's their primary source of wave clear alongside the Varus. So this turret will take a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, Arrow doing what he can. They do clear the initial wave out pretty quickly, and Arrow going to start throwing Qs down the line. And will actually take out the rest of the wave. Looks like Farm is on the mind for Froggen as per usual. Going to duck down bottom lane and get that wave pushing in his favor. And Gate having some fun with Keith, I think, there. Swallowing him up. But it looks like everyone's going to go back and buy. And we have had some reasonable item purchases made as well. Infinity Edge is done for Keith, SN3 but done for Arrow. And those first major tank items being the Spirit Visage up for Zig and Looper. So again, these teams have really fought a lot in the early game and they're starting to get stronger. And I have to say I love it. 16 kills already in a 19-minute game. That's the kind of League of Legends I like.
As a play-by-play caster, I totally understand that. But, oh, hold on.
Oh, that
Another
looks
one
like
for
bad news, Bears. Little too much there for Froggen.
Instantly deleted there, but that's what they were looking for into the LeBlanc. That's why Phoenix1 were saying, you can take LeBlanc first pick as long as we get Rengar, because this is a very comfortable pick for Inori, that even if the early game doesn't go well, he still knows how to just make these picks and be not where you expect. So if you don't get cheese during the early game like Acadian said, he'll cheese your mid laner if he's on the side.
Happy to do it at 19 minutes instead. And I think playing to Froggen's tendencies there as well. He's really been hanging out in brushes, trying to poke Rio a lot, and he was punished there.
They're trying to push them off this turret by making a flank and having the threat of the Lissandra and the Rengar. So the ultimate there from the Rengar is blown to get turret damage there. They were hoping for the whole thing. They didn't end up getting it, but it's enough damage that another one could possibly end up in that mid turret going down.
Good play, but the minion wave not being there or not lasting long enough means that it will stay up for now. And you can see both teams that have some side lane turrets, but these mid turrets are the very valuable ones when they're trying to open the game up, especially at this time. Rift Herald is gone, so he won't see an appearance today, at least in this game. And again, teams going to having to deal with these long lanes that have been created means that they will have to bounce the waves expertly. And despite all the attempts at starting something here, we have a Drake up in just over a minute. We've got those mid lane turrets that are kind of prime as well, and Baron is also starting to become in play. So I don't imagine the pace is going to dip too much, but the teams are certainly looking for the correct engage.
Yeah, what's going to happen here is you're going to see a 1-3-1 happen with the 2 teleports from P1 because these are unanswerable teleports. At least one of them is. So if the LeBlanc, if Froggen is trying to match Ryu on the bottom side like he is right now, there's a possibility he gets ganked again by Inori. So Inori needs to kind of stay out of vision until he is definitely going to make a play, because he could be top ganking the Nautilus, he could be bot making a play there, or he could be in the middle trying to actually engage on the siege. So it'll be a 3-on-3 in the mid lane unless the LeBlanc joins, sacks the bottom lane, but now she's on a timer. Can you clear this wave and deal damage to this turret before there is threat on your bottom turret?
Ooh,
They're taking a play top
How
though.
could be problem. Zig does leap onto Looper now, and Inori's going to follow in with a snare. Looper does go back to his turret. He's going to ulti one back in, but Inori's not in turret range. Zig is just tanking it forever, and Looper cannot lift her at all. That's not good news, but Zig, he gets the kill, and Inori gets out.
Yeah, had to use the W, but it swaps to Inori. No problem there. Now there's pressure on the top side and the bottom side of the map for P1. They have the tempo on the top. They could go after the turret. They can come into flank, so this siege is a little bit of a bait, but you see right there, as soon as they back off, Zig goes back to top lane.
And I like the rotation mid there from Fox, but pressure from Ryu and a nice answering gank in the top lane does give P1 momentum back. It really has been some small exchanges as far as map control has gone so far, but both teams playing very crisp and maybe even setting something up here in the top lane as well. Zig's got a nice cannon wave to try and do a good chunk of damage here, and with no one to answer it, I think that may just go down.
Yep, you had to be careful though as well, because there's that tendency for some top laners to be like, I need to TP and save it, but they have no idea where Inori is. So if he TP's back in, it could be what happened to Ryu around level 3.
Well, looks like a couple more members of P1 will move up towards the top lane, so they're going to look for any stragglers. Echo Fox smartly just giving it up. Looper is there, but he's playing very far back.
Yeah, and he blew his flash previously, so trying to pick on him a little bit there, but P1 definitely playing the map rather well right now, and it's honestly because they have the 1-3-1 composition with the double teleport, they get the ability to do so. The LeBlanc is not being that impactful at the moment.
And look, you know, Ryu did have a rough start, certainly with those 2 early ganks coming in, but has redeemed himself with that strong pre-10-minute team fight. I will say, I think Zig might be the hero right now. 4-0-3 on the Maokai, has had excellent coverage as far as where he's supposed to be on the map, and that initial TP really got Ryu the kills he needed to get back into the game.
And Zig is a fantastic tank top player. Like, we were talking about, this is a good barometer for Looper and how he operates, because they're going to play tanks against each other, so it's how you coordinate with your team. And Zig definitely has a leg up over Looper on this team because he's worked with Inori before. He's been playing with these guys for a bit. Phoenix1 did do a Korean boot camp back in December. And so they are very serious about winning this split or placing and going to the playoffs because they missed out on it last split. And Zig has been talking last split about how he didn't think he was a good teammate when he first started his League of Legends career. He's been working on that. And it's really strange because he's like the nicest guy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just trying to be the best teammate possible. But 4-0-3 on Maokai could have been 007.
Could have been. Damn you, Zig, stealing all these kills. Well, I'm sorry. He'll take it. at this point is P1 going to give the red buff over to Inori. Actually looking quite strong himself. He's going to pop the ult. He's looking for something. Looks like Froggen could be on the menu. Ree here as well, ready to lock him down. Froggen's going to dash his way out. Inori's found him, and Froggen has to get his way out. There's a flash follow, but the chain has landed. Gates here as well. Everyone's coming through, and now they're going to turn it around. Inori going to get himself locked down, but he will escape redemption. Pop for a bit of extra healing as Ryu. Maybe get himself out of waves there. No, it's okay. A bit of extra movement speed there as Arrow does take down the Jhin.
And you saw as they were trying to make that play, Zig chases Looper down the lane. No teleport for you. No getting into that fight.
Uh-oh, Adrian though popped up there. Fox with another kill back. Arcadian with the Hydra takes one out.
Exactly what he needed to do there. He got that pick. The flash out of Arrow.
Better flash Arrow. Oh, Looper almost gets it. Blast going out to safety, but Fox, I think, straight onto Baron.
Yeah, they are actually going to go and attempt this Baron there. There's a control ward right there that sees Froggen.
Hi. Uh-oh.
I guess they're just baiting the teleport out.
Well, they got it. Zig gonna flash in though. Gate eats him up. Not much of that's enough. Safety. Ryu's here. Has to flash in there. Looks for Gate. Locks him down. He's gonna get the support. The chains maybe enough to get Froggen out of the way. Inori trying to chase him down as Ryu will take out the Tahm Kench. P1. Nice defense there. And Fox not too sure about the Baron call there.
It was mostly to get the teleport out of Zig, I would assume. Like,
oh,
control ward right there.
Looper, very nice. Looking to lock one down. Arrow does have his ulti. He needs to kind of make it happen. Use that at the last minute as Arrow will get himself ulted up by Nautilus. Zig here as well to cover. Now going to move back in. There's the shutdown though for Keith as he takes down Lissandra. And now Arrow kind of getting jumped away. Arcadian who's doing a ton of damage. And Nori jumps in as well to zone away Froggen, and Arcadian gets his way out. No, Arrow snipes him on the other end.
Zig with the W is still roots. He didn't even go after him. It didn't put him over the wall, but Arrow follows up, and now the mid turret is going to go down. And this is the most important turret for both of these team competitions because it's the one that you have to stop the siege on against the most number of people at a time. So now that P1, they have the double teleports. Of course, they're down right now, but the fact that now they can siege 3 against 4 in mid and have a longer lane that the enemy has to push down, it's really good for the composition, and it opens up the roaming from mid lane as well.
Well, it all started here, but a great ulti from Gate kind of turned this one around. And Nori gets out, but the fight will continue.
Yeah, the wave there as well wasn't perfect, but it was enough to stop them from advancing. Ryu ends up getting the kill. They start picking up Keith, and now Acadian. Control ward, sometimes you feel like you have to kill them. He didn't get it. He didn't even get it.
Not worth. And there's that control ward that started it all. Echo Fox going to take it out this time. And do have exclusive vision over the Baron as that second control ward goes down as well. Gate assists him out of the Baron pit. And Acadian's going to get himself back towards his left side of the jungle. And Infernal Drake is coming up in a number of minutes. Not quite there yet. P1 do have those 2 Drakes as well. So it does feel like despite how chaotic this game has been, P1 are coming out ahead in so many little exchanges and kind of keeping themselves up here about 2,000 gold plus the 2 Drakes is actually huge 27 minutes in.
Exactly. And the fact that they're up in gold again, like they had to claw back from honestly a very demoralizing early game where you lose your summoners in mid lane and you go down 0-2. And Inori kind of using this for vision at the same time, trying to track them down.
Ooh, Ryu gets himself over. Arcadian locked up. He's going to jump in on him. Gate though, easy exit, and Zig was trying to dive in there as well, but a nice chain from Froggen keeps him back there. Don't forget P1 do have 3 turrets to run, which at this point is actually a significant advantage geographically. P1 just have so much more space to move with, and Echo Fox are really just responding as best they can right now.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen for a little while longer here, because P1 are going to move as 5, possibly have one person go off into the side lane and shove when needed, but they're going to wait until their teleports are back up on Zig and Ryu. Luckily, they're synced, so it won't be too much longer where they have to kind of play for vision around this area. So right now, P1's like, protect the Baron area, make sure nothing funny happens here, protect mid lane, don't lose this turret. Of course, it's very low, so it'd be hard to do, and wait for those teleports to come back up so they can start playing the map again.
Well, low is not dead, and keeping it alive is at least annoying for Echo Fox, if nothing else. As you can see, Ryu's just making sure he clears another way, but I don't expect him to overextend too much. Froggen's actually behind him, but Ryu pretty confident 1v1. Does have a Zhonya's and his ultimate now, and is almost rank 3 for the Frozen Tomb as well. So Froggen, yeah, he doesn't really fancy much here. He's gonna have to play back and take the farm as it pushes back in the top lane. And P1, a very safe Baron start here.
Yep. Baron gets started up. Looper on the bottom side. His teleport is actually still a few seconds away before Looper can come in here.
Nice wave, looking for Keith. He's gonna have to cancel the ulti. Ryu's over the top, but Acadian
Gate.
Try and lock him down. Now Honori's looking onto Gate. Gate flashes the wall, but Honori follows him through. Arrow almost snipes him with the Varus ulti.
Sapling!
Sapling, not enough.
Not quite. Varus ulti also missed, like you said there, but that's, I believe that's to try and get the TP out of Looper because he's on the bottom side of the map, but his teleport wasn't up. If you can get the TP out of the Nautilus and then just run 1-3-1 for P1, that's the ideal situation. Whereas for Echo Fox, LeBlanc is actually about 1,500 gold down. And you're sitting there going, how did this happen? We tried to set her up for the early game, and it's just been these kills. These roams have been helping Ryu out so much. The point that now Froggen has to try to find a way to kill Arrow when he's building magic resistance now too.
Yeah, credit to Zig again as Ryu actually getting himself chased here. And Nori is the bait. Arcadian locked down, but Lupa with a nice hook forces Ryu's ultimate. And Nori going to try and get it down, but they're looking for something. Zig could run problems. Now he's going to try and zone them away. Keeps just hitting him. That's not doing anything as Arcadian blocked down there as well. Lupa taking a decent amount of damage, but Arcadian wants into the backline. He'll get thrown down, and Zig is doing everything. Froggen though ducked to the back and takes out Adrian, takes out Ryu as well. And they're going to lock down Zig. Echo Fox turn it all around. There's a triple kill for Froggen.
And that's going to be the Baron on top of it too. Unless Inori can make a hero steal. He does have flash. He does have his ultimate available.
There's the ulti. He's going to start it. Ooh, Scry's Bloom. Doesn't go for it once. Froggen instead. That's a little greedy. He's going to get chained up here. Nice W to get out from under the first root. Jin though locks him down, and Echo Fox to be able to get this Baron. Inori just can't get back in now.
Yeah, that's enough damage to actually dissuade him, and they're following him all around the map. And Echo Fox back in the lead.
And we talked about it. Froggen, this player that needs a bit of help to get things going. But when he does, it looks a little like this.
Yeah, it was the chip down here just over and over again. Little bit of damage. Arrow can't do much in this fight. Him and Adrian are both rather low mana. And then Froggen, you watch him here. He's on the left side. Acadian gets not a knock up there. But Arrow flashed away. Froggen sits in the bush. Flash distortion into 3 people. Ryu proto belts backwards. Back in, and that's going to be the triple kill right there. Froggen with backline access, the flash distortion, perfect.
And you know, Zig, I talked about it. Took a lot to kill him.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, Froggen found the window in for the flank, and that was more than enough to wipe that team fight and give Echo Fox the gold lead in the game. And with the Baron up as well, Infernal Drake will be up in 1 minute and 5. Have to think they've got plenty of objectives to take now, and I think maybe most importantly, equalize that turret score and get themselves further and further ahead.
Yeah, and now we see Froggen back in the lead in terms of gold, about 700 up for himself. And that's huge. He is a big carry for them. We're talking about the laners here for Echo Fox, with Looper on a tank and being a little bit more in the department of helping out with the CC being a frontliner. Froggen and Keith, it's really on them to carry, and you can even tell Keith's trying to get his carry pants on because that's an Infinity Edge instead of going for, we've seen the Jin build where you go Youmu's into Infinity. We've seen the build where you go for the Essence Reaver. This just means he's looking for that early damage. It's his first item as well. And now with the Lord Dominic's Regards as his 3rd item, it's basically like the Maokai couldn't really do anything to him. Time to get some armor penetration.
Well, looking good there as Echo Fox looking for another pick, but P1 smartly staying away from a Baron-empowered Fox. And Drake will be up soon, but they want a turret instead. Like we said, those are the important objectives to get, particularly when you have the buff that helps you siege. Arrow, though, able to push that out. And Ryu actually just off to the side. Maybe trying to find an angle around, but Echo Fox is going to do this the easy way. They're going to take the Drake and then move down to the bottom lane and just going to equalize all the outer turrets that P1 already has.
The fact that they get this Infernal Drake and it doesn't fall over to P1 as a second one is huge for Echo Fox to stop P1 from getting back into this game. They have the Baron, and now they have the ability to shove up towards that tier 2 turret, and with Looper having priority on the top side, it's going to have to get answered by this Lissandra.
I mean, for all the double TP split pushing that P1 could do, it's very difficult or maybe impossible or close to with the Baron up as well.
Yes, so what they're doing is they're actually going back and forth between where they have cannon minions and where they have strong waves. Arrow has to sit mid, spend a lot of hits on killing those minions and pushing them out, but they end up delivering a wave to the top side, get that turret down, and now they're going to try to do that with the mid and possibly mid-bottom like they just did.
And you can see this lead is really growing out. 4,000 gold up now for Fox. So I think almost doubled the lead they had after they won that first fight they got from the Baron, and they're going to keep taking turrets here. So P1, who looked pretty in control of this game, have actually lost control pretty swiftly.
Yep, and now this turret's going to take damage. Looper on the bottom side shoving that wave in, but it's going to be on hard engage here because Inori He's on the bottom side of the map. There are a decent amount of wards here covering the direction. You could see right where LeBlanc is. There's a lot of control wards down this area to the river where it's so hard to actually flank and get in as the Rengar. So now Fox are going to try to take control of this part of the jungle to go between mid and bottom and try to get another turret off of that.
Yeah, Loop is going to comfortably take that bottom outer by himself, and maybe the team will join him. See if they can't do extra damage. Looks like Baron buff has dropped off though, so extra power taken away. Looper has plenty of space to just punch the turret to death. And looks like Zig's not going to make it in time to save it. So all told, pretty big Baron power play. 4 turrets to 3 now in favor of Echo Fox, and that big gold lead there as well, as he really is taking his time. Nautilus does not do things quickly, that's for sure.
I say shout out to the camera right now. Shout out to our observers.
He did it.
Followed me as I was talking about the wards. They knew exactly what I was talking about. Entertainment value on top of it. They got everything. Welcome to the end of LCS 2017.
2017, it's going to be a good year as Arcadian takes down the Wolfcamp. Froggen looking much healthier than before. 3 damage items with another one in the works with the extra Fiendish Codex on top of the Void Staff, Abyssal, and Ludens. We talked about Keith already. QSS and those 3 damage items are looking good. And Zig, he was very far ahead as far as tank items go. Lupa has equalized that as well. So again, it is going to come down to kind of those next big fights. Fox will have an advantage going into the next one, but P1 have shown that team fighting wise, looking pretty crisp as well. So going to need at least one big objective to try and open up this game.
Yeah, and maybe it's that Baron that comes back up. You know, it'll be about 3 minutes at this point, I would imagine. And I was just looking at the items, and QSS also purchased for Froggen, making sure he doesn't get locked up by the LeBlanc. And this game, like you can see, just been back and forth, hills and valleys all throughout. But people are now buying items like the locket's coming through for Zig, because Adrian is actually going to go for what I believe is going to be Mikhail's here, so that they have a way to get out of CC. Everybody's just looking for ways to stay alive, to get healed, make sure that these burst assassins don't just blow them up with the LeBlanc or the Lissandra.
It was Zig. They found Keeper. Gate eats him. That's good, but the teleport coming in from Looper. Tidal Wave, who's going to keep moving through, and Gate taking a good chunk of damage. Arcadian in there as well. As Ryu's going to get knocked up, and Zig goes into the air as well. Adrian eating damage as Froggen, looking for another flank. He's found his way around. He's to go back in, but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Anori. Not able to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's going to get the shot down, and P1 looking to clean up the team fight. Looper sniped down there as well for his GA. Arcadian's got one, but he doesn't have it for long. Arrow is going to flash his way back towards him, and that's 3 kills already. Make it 4 as Looper goes down, and Arcadian's the only one left alive. He'll be safe, but P1, huge team fight win there.
Absolutely huge. They'll get this mid turret. They're going to get at least an inhibitor turret off of this as well. And look at that. And Orion Rengar, I mean, this is his baby. This is his champion. And he comes up huge in that team fight.
We talked about it being one big moment to open things up. This inhibitor's going to fall on P1 aren't done. They're going to rush in and try and finish the game.
Barely any wave clear. They have a lot of damage with multiple AD characters here. The TP coming through as well. Arcadian's going to try to stop it.
Got to do something, but it's not quite enough. Adrian's still alive, and Arcadian doing what he can. Gate moves his way back in, but Arcadian gets locked down. Adrian does fall on the other side, and Gate's there for defense. P1. They got one turret, but that wasn't the Nexus.
It's a necessary sacrifice from Arcadian. He made the right play there to try to disrupt. If you're damaging the Rek'Sai, of course you're not damaging the turret, so it takes longer. There's 19 seconds before they have Baron back up here, and it'd be very difficult because it's a Rek'Sai with ultimate to actually go for the Baron and try to get it before he's back up. You have a very small window to do so. And this is just really good because Zig with the flank comes through. W has to be used on him from Gate, flash out, and then he still gets knocked up, so Keith has to flash as well. The redemptions come down into the middle of the fight, and now you can see Anori just hanging off on the side, building up. He even used an air Q there just to get a root onto Gate, and then he jumps in, kills Gate and Keith with one swing, and hold on!
We're at it again. Gate locked up, and he's looking to go down. Keith's up, but Zig's on top of him. That's going to be a crushing takedown as Ryu actually goes down to the other side. Keith lives for a little while longer as Arrow's still firing away. Froggen down for the double as Zig takes that one down. Rek'Sai zoomed into the fight as Gate's going to get himself chased. Anori now dominating, gets another, and Looper just can't get out here. The wave's down as well, and there's another 4 kills for P1.
And that most likely is game here with P1 having no inhibitor in this lane. They're going to try to go for the win.
They are going to go for it here, and Arcadian is trapped all the way back into the top lane, and Nori just straight onto it. Going to sacrifice himself for a bit of extra damage here. He's got a GA. He can live for a little while longer. And P1, they're going to see what they can do. And Nori still tanking. It does go down on Arcadian. He just can't get in. Phoenix1 going to turn their arrows towards the Nexus and take it down. Back-to-back fights and a great game 1.
A turbulent game, but P1 come out on top. Crazy start.
Certainly crazy, action-packed all the way around. Almost 40 kills in that game, and it was 38 minutes long. We were actually pretty much a kill a minute as far as that went. And P1, we talked about just how chaotic and how scrappy that game was going. It felt like in the moments, in the times where they needed to be together and have those team fights, they just seemed a bit more practiced.
Yeah, just a bit more over Echo Fox there. The Korean boot camp seemed to kind of play out in that game one. They were able to rotate very effectively between the lanes when they wanted to get an advantage. But Echo Fox also showed that they do have a mastery as well. When they had the Baron buff, they knew how to play it slow and play for those lanes, play for those tier 2 turrets correctly. And I gotta say though, it was kind of Ryu and the fact that Inori was on Rengar that really sealed the deal on this game, because they got backline access in those later fights where Keith and also Gate, didn't matter you had a Tom Kench, they were still getting blown up.
And Froggen, you know who's trying to get in and do stuff, but clutch exhaust from Adrian as well, I will say. They kind of learnt their lesson after that one big team fight flank.
Takes one
almost got Echo Fox, winning that game effectively. So I think you can see that the same team is still there for Echo Fox. They are methodical. I do like seeing them a bit more kind of pepped up and taking a bit more action, but P1 again, just a little cleaner in that first game.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a much faster game for Echo Fox in terms of tempo early. It just felt like they didn't know exactly what to do with that lead or how to punish hard enough from the mid lane there. It didn't manifest in a CS advantage, but there were 2 kills that went over to Acadian early, and then it didn't really get off the ground, and it just ended up falling to P1's skirmishes.
Well, it was certainly a lot of fun, but for a breakdown on that win from Phoenix1, we are going to send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Phoenix1 picking up the first victory here of the series. And I want to get to that point that Zyrene was making about the mid lane and those early kills secured by Fox, but not till after we take a look at Champion Select, because here we see Phoenix1 crafting a pretty intelligent Champion Select here, opting to not go for what are, at this point, very early on in our 2017 competitive season, seen as the standard red side bans.
Yeah, I mean, the standard red side bans, you pretty much always see LeBlanc, Rengar, Camille. That's like the norm, right? You ban the super OPs, don't let them first pick it. But this is something that I've been kind of wanting to see as some innovation. They leave up the Rengar, they leave up the LeBlanc, and I think this is something that really Echo Fox wasn't super expecting. And because of that, Phoenix1 had crafted answers for either side of it, right? If they take LeBlanc, you're going to take Maokai and Lissandra, and you have to assume that they have answers if they're going to be taking the Rengar too. Plus, you have Ryu who's comfortable on the Assassin and LeBlanc, and you have Inori who's a Rengar specialist. So I think it was a super intelligent draft, and a lot of props to them for that.
Yeah, I mean, aided by the fact that they do have players on their rosters that can very much play those champions at a high level, so they'll be happy taking either. And then, as you mentioned, okay, Rengar falls into our hands, but we have the counters for this very powerful LeBlanc that we handed over. But let's go ahead and now talk about what happened early in the game before we get to some replays. We're going to talk about this Acadian coming out and being aggressive with those early ganks mid, getting the flash and the kill, and then the return gank. Yet it didn't net that large of a lead for Froggen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's brutal because this is exactly the kind of start they needed. They needed Froggen to get ahead. They needed him to be able to roam and kind of take over the map in the early mid game, because it's too hard to fight on LeBlanc in these team fights, I feel, in the late game. And Acadian, true to his word, was aggressive, but it didn't pan out.
Right, yeah, so the 2 early kills going to him. LeBlanc not really able to establish much of a CS lead there. Then we go ahead and jump to this Dragon fight, which is going to be our first replay. Phoenix1 completely turning the tide to this game, picking up 4 kills.
I mean, this was after Ryu had just died twice, so the fight starts off pretty well. P1 is going to lose someone there, but they all come into the fight. They're all able to collapse. Ryu is here. Looper TPs, he kind of walks in by himself. You can see Froggen has not yet arrived to the fight, and when he does arrive, he's not really able to get that much done. So it just looked like some kind of poor coordination here, some miscommunication as they were kind of coming in one at a time, and it really let Ryu get right back into the game, because Ryu gets 3 kills off that. He's able to be ahead of Froggen after that point when they had put their whole game plan into getting him ahead.
Right, exactly.
Getting behind, rather.
I like what you mentioned here in terms of kind of the sloppiness of the fight, right?
Yeah.
In that we did have maybe some late DPs. Froggen's not all the way over there, so neither of these teams 100% in position. And this was kind of a theme throughout the game, that while, these teams might look like better, renditions of their summer split rosters, there's obviously still some kinks to work out here. Let's jump to our next replay, 35 minutes into the game. This is a P1 fight here, kind of near the Dragon, or Baron Pit, rather.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one where Froggen was able to come up big. And you can see the backline kind of grouping up a little bit here. Ryu and Adrian and Arrow all do stack up, and then Froggen, he sees his opportunity. He goes for the flash distortion onto the clumped up backline. He's able to pick himself up 1, he's able to pick up 2, and closes out the triple. And that was just an incredible team fight from Froggen, showcasing the power of the LeBlanc. And that did get them the Baron, but really, that was kind of the lone bright spot in the later half of the game.
Right, and again, as you mentioned, where they had drafted tools like the Lissandra and the Maokai to deal with the LeBlanc, Zig was not able to get onto Froggen in that fight, and you saw how much havoc Froggen was therefore able to on the back line. And then, of course, all right, for Echo Fox is in control. We've got the Baron. We've got to have it go back the other way one more time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the game-winning fight here by Phoenix1.
Yeah, this was a good one, and it's just a case of too many people to peel for. You can see Gate, he eats up Keith, he spits him back, but there's so many threats, and Ryu was able to play this fight particularly well. As soon as Keith opens up, Ryu sees his opportunity, goes straight in, nice combo using the Proto Belt, self-ult, they clean up 2 in the back line, and with them down, they have no damage to really clean up the rest of the fight.
Yeah, some really good patience by both him and Inori there off to the side of the fight, waiting for Jin to enter that ultimate state where he's static. He's not going to be able to get out of there in time when you see the claw coming in. Of course, the game doesn't end right here. It extends for a little bit longer, but Phoenix1 picking up that game 1. Let's talk then about player of the game. Going to Zig this time around, I think, kind of the core of it going to Zig is the fact that as a team player, he's in the right place in the right time. When it came to those TPs and the actual team fights, he seemed to have a little bit more wherewithal than Looper did, former world champion, when it comes to those macro elements.
Yeah, I mean, Zig more than held his own, and I think this player of the game was a tough one. It could have gone to Ryu, could have gone to Inori, could have gone to Zig. I don't think that there was a clear option, but I think Zig played very well from the top lane. He was solid on the Maokai, and I think he is deserving of the praise.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's go ahead and kind of look towards game 2 here real briefly. For Echo Fox, it didn't come together with that mid-focus strategy. Is that enough to say that we need to go to a different lane, or is that just making different or more adjustments to our mid-centric style?
I mean, I think you can still play around mid. I think the problems came in the draft. I think P1 straight up outdrafted them, outthought them in Champion Select, and then they were able to execute from what was already advantage.
All right, we'll see if they can do it. We're going to take a quick break while our contenders take a breather. We're going to step away, but stick around because we'll be right back for game 2 of Phoenix1 versus Echo Fox.
Whack me in the back of the head every time I don't look in a gold cut.
Okay.
Whack me. There we go.
I'm gonna stop.
Oh.
I can't afford for you to have brain damage.
Because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make a play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great blood, but it's not enough. Still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai. The element of noise trying to get some damage back. Looper, who's going to get crushed down. There's a double kill for Ryu. Acadian still trying to find it out, but Froggen goes in. Kill arrows to Inori as Acadian takes it down. Now Ryu trying to get his way out to safety.
No, don't kite back. You're good fight.
Okay. I'm on Maokai right now. I'm on Maokai too. Lissandra?
Yes. Lissandra, step.
Yeah.
Okay. Do Baron after. Do Baron now.
Good shit. Let's fucking go.
Needs to go back in, but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Inori. Not able to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's going to get the shot down, and P1 we're going to clean up the team fight. Phoenix1 going to turn their arrows towards the Nexus and take it down. Back-to-back fights and a great game 1.
I think a lot of people come to the LCS and they're just like, oh, like I'm in the LCS now, you know, I gotta play super scared. I gotta put some wards down, you know, like I can't make any plays, better not like make mistakes. But I'm pretty set on like when I get to the LCS, I don't want to have like regrets when I play. And I think a lot of people have, like, especially from NA Challenger, they've come to the LCS and they've played so scared, you know. And I like look at that and I'm just like, I don't want to do that, you know. So I just really want to be aggressive, I guess, keep my aggressive play style that I've always had. So yeah.
Certainly strong words there from Arcadian. Welcome back, everyone, for Game 2 as these new squads have to answer one question. Can P1 maintain the momentum into Game 2, or Echo Fox going to find their way back in? For me, Echo Fox, right idea, as always. Strong players, individual talent looks there, but team play looking better from last year, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, and like, how does that game look if those first 2 kills go over to Froggen instead of Acadian, and then he has a little bit more of a lane advantage, right? And then that ends up like getting him a power spike a little bit sooner. Can he punish Ryu? So right now, Echo Fox, though, they did have an advantage. They weren't able to push it. They weren't able to utilize it. And I think a lot of that has to come from Looper in the top lane. He does need to step up here. And we saw some teleport plays not work out. That fight that they went over at the analyst desk that ended up with the score lines being even afterwards. A lot of that was Looper comes in. No like flash used there and no ultimate used there when he had the chance to do so.
Yeah, and again, a lot of those things are longer term things for Echo Fox. You don't just, you know, after one game, suddenly have amazing team chemistry and synergy. These things do take time to build up, and I think shot calling felt like more of an issue there in that game. So it will take time, but every single game you need to be refocusing on these things and thinking how you can improve them.
Exactly. It's like, what do we play around? What is our objective at all times? And so Echo Fox, they have struggled with leadership a little bit. Froggen talked about it last year when he was saying Rick Fox is being a little bit of a leader for him and empowering him with these qualities. Now they have new members on the squad, mixed language team on top of it, and they have a rookie as well who does have a lot of control in the early game. So I think Acadian, it'd be best suited if he gets a little bit more in that shot calling role and has those great plays that he could just see them coming, because he was what started the turnaround from P1. He was the one who was aggressive, and there was a turnaround on him. So maybe a little bit more time, he can identify those situations where it is the time to make a play.
Maybe, but I think the analyst has also pointed out that draft is something that could also be cleaned up here as well. So we'll see what happens in our second champ select of this series. Rise and Cannon banned out from P1 once more. Looks like Loop is not getting that one anytime soon, and Camille and LeBlanc banned out on the other side also. So pretty standard stuff so far. Echo Fox clearly respecting the power of LeBlanc, first picking it and now banning it away. And Phoenix1, what's the last ban? It is Malzahar for the first phase.
All right, no Ashe ban here from Phoenix1. And this leaves Rise on the table as well as the Zyra, but there's also the Kha'Zix on top of that. So see what happens here.
Rengar being banned, of course, so Inori not going to get that one again. I feel Echo Fox is like, you know what?
Yeah.
We can try this once. We're not going to try it again. And P1 says, don't worry, plenty more carry junglers in the pocket as Inori pulls out Kha'Zix.
Yeah, I know that the feeling right now is Rengar is the S tier or the God tier, and then right below for carry junglers, it's Kha'Zix. And some people will say that he's a very good matchup against Lee Sin, who is right next to him in the tier list. So goes right down the tier list. Doesn't care that Malzahar is banned. Doesn't go for the Zyra, right? Still on the table, which I wouldn't expect to be picked up by Echo Fox unless they fear a misfortune pick as the counter.
Well, they've got 2 picks to make here, and Ashe was banned last game, so they will take Ashe as their first of 2 picks here. And like you said, there's kind of a lot open here. Zyra's the obvious pick, especially to pair with the Ashe lane, but we'll see what Echo Fox do want to take for themselves.
An Ashe Zyra lane would be quite powerful, but if you do expect there to be a counter in the misfortune, you have to wait on it a little bit there. Or if you think that the jungle might get pinched in the second round, then you take it now.
Yeah, pretty safe pick there on Rek'Sai as well. You mentioned Lee Sin as being one of those other strong junglers. Rek'Sai pretty close to that top of the pile as well. So Arcadian had a good looking game there in the first one, takes the comfort back into game 2.
It's definitely not a Rek'Sai favorable matchup, of course. A lot of pressure coming in from the Kha'Zix. And right here, yes, with Ashe off the table, the Varus falls into Arrow's hands again. Actually, omits going for the Jhin, thinks that this might be a little bit more powerful here in the situation. And I don't blame him. I think that up against the Ashe, it is quite a good pick to have.
Well, we'll see what else they do take here. Phoenix1 considering Maokai. Great game 1 there on the Maokai and very safe standard pick, so they will lock it in for themselves. Echo Fox, though, have been given the chance to take away something quite good here. Zyra, again, screams to be the obvious pick. We know Gabe plays it. He was playing it last season, so We'll see if they do want to take it or if they have something else in mind. Because remember, the second phase of bannings will change a lot moving into the last 4 picks. So Echo Fox need to be very careful with how they proceed. And that's the Nivea for Froggen.
Countdown is still going down, though. So...
yeah, for the ban. There's a ban that comes, so that's the Nivea locked in for Froggen.
You're right. It got me. It got me. So yeah, it is locked in 100%. Get excited. Okay, sorry. I ruined the hype.
And now they banned Syndra, which I think makes sense, because if there's one matchup you don't want to run yourself into, it's probably Syndra, isn't it, Nivea?
Quite the good matchup there. And then now they're just going to go back and forth here. It looks like a pinch on the support pool. Don't want to see that get picked up next. It'd be so hard to actually engage on an Anivia with a Zyra, so it's a good takeaway there. And now Phoenix1, what does Ryu have to play into the Anivia? I'm sure that Froggen knows most of the matchups back and forwards, I guess. Backwards and forwards. There you go.
And there's Cassiopeia. Froggen's like, take out all these good champions, give me Anivia. Certainly had wonderful performances on it all year long, really, last year. And of course, it is the trademark pick for Froggen himself. Phoenix1, though, what does the other ban look like? Do they continue banning away supports? We saw Karma as a takeaway in the last game, so perhaps they take that here. Rumble, actually, another good champion for Looper, so kind of trying to get at his champion pool a bit, and it's great into Maokai, so Zig, I think, being more unable to succeed once again in the top lane. And I actually really like that last ban from Phoenix1. It serves multiple purposes here in the draft.
Yeah. Also focuses, it forces him onto something else, and there you go. It's the Singed for Looper in the top lane. It has been played into Maokai multiple times now over in the LCK. It is considered by a lot of the Korean top laners a really good pick because Maokai just can't deal with it. Singed causes pressure by just shoving the wave incredibly easily, has the option to proxy, and hey, he's not bad at actually setting up ganks either.
No, certainly not. I mean, team fighting certainly favors Maokai as far as that pick goes, as Orianna is going to be the lock-in there for Ryu, so he'll just take the nice, safe, straightforward mid laner for himself. And what's the last pick here for P1? We saw Karma ban in the last game, so maybe Adrian's going to pick it up, and he does lock it in. Phoenix1 now done with their draft. Is there anything fun left for Echo Fox here for the final pick?
Nothing fun left. No. Damn. I mean,
it's just funny.
Surprise us.
They have 2 trademark champions that actually seem quite good here in both Anivia and Singed for Froggen and Looper, respectively.
And now they have to go down for apparently support here. Unless that's Singed support. And nope. Unlucky. Teammates don't want him to play it.
No, not yet. There's Gate actually on the Thresh, which was also banned in the last game.
Yep.
So the 2 supports that were banned in the last one are going to get taken here. Zyra was smartly banned away from Phoenix1, and kind of looking down the draft, I think Echo Fox have done a little bit more maneuvering here as far as their picks go. Singed, of course, is a champion that we haven't seen too much of, but seen a little bit, particularly with all the tanks. Froggen going to be very solid on the Anivia, but it's not a standout mid lane pick. On the other side, though, Phoenix1 have really just drafted as best they can given the opportunities, and I think had some very smart phase 2 picks and bans as well.
Yeah, Echo Fox has a lot of disruption here in the middle of a team fight, but if they botch their engage, it is borderline impossible to re-engage and get back onto Arrow, because the Singed has to run through everything. The Anivia would have to get like a really good wall. You'd have to land a hook or an arrow, but if the Karma is able to speed him up, it's going to be so hard to catch him with an Orianna on top of that too. And then you have the Maokai for peel. So whoever gets an advantage and you get to play back and the enemy has to siege into you, then you kind of have an advantage with both these team compositions.
And again, it feels like if we are going to get the same style of pretty fast-paced, kill-heavy League of Legends, it is just going to be the team coordination that will bring them all together. I wonder if Looper maybe has a different opportunity now, because again, the teleports for team fighting weren't working out as well. Singed isn't quite all the way to Shen as far as split pushing goes, but plays much more like a split pushing top lane tank than a traditional team fighting tank.
Absolutely. I mean, Looper, little bit of a hiccup there last game with joining the team fights and all that. So now just play Singed, go proxy waves, go have fun. They have nothing to do with the team. Don't bring them towards us at all, and we'll be good to go.
We tried the teamwork thing, didn't work out. We're going to try the opposite as we are onto the roof for game number 2. Phoenix1 up 1 here in the series, so a win here will secure them a sweep and a win in the first week of the LCS here. It looks like something pretty fun here for Echo Fox.
Yeah,
they're going to move out as 5 towards the bottom lane.
They have the Q
already
ranked
leveled up.
up.
He's ready.
Yep. Ranked up Q for Froggen, looking for a pick here in the bottom side of the map.
I just love the panache. Looper, of course, with his own skin. And Adrian, he's in trouble. He does get away to safety. Gonna put a ward down. That's an ambitious Q. Ward goes down, so first CS goes to Froggen, the CS master.
And Arrow goes back into the...
He's like, gonna check it out. Oh!
Another one!
Got it again!
Two!
Froggen's very good at this game.
I mean, they're going to run out of wards at this rate. Gotta put them down before they get there. There you go.
You can see wards being answered on the other side as well for P1, and they will spot Echo Fox moving out. So no one's getting caught there. Nice kind of smart spread out from Phoenix1.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Inori, he goes and he wards the red buff to make sure that, if Acadian starts on that side, which is the side that you usually start on as the Rek'Sai, so you don't bring your bottom lane to come leash for you, or I mean, you'd be even starting on Wolves or Blue, which isn't that great for Rek'Sai. You usually want that red immediately. And Acadian, quite conscious of the fact that there could be a ward there, so he just is waiting until the last moment.
And no help, actually, by the looks of things either. Usually sees some
Classic
weakness for the
Singe.
junglers. That's true, he's busy. Lupa's got work to do. He's already running towards the wave. As Gate hanging out, bit of harass down. Ooh, nice playback as well. Certainly practice on the champion, so bit of early harass isn't too bad, but we'll start playing the lane out as per normal now. Looks like this time P1 certainly looking much better as far as the early push goes. Gate really sacrificed a lot of his health on the time catch last game to make sure that didn't happen. This time around they'll have a bit more pressure as Froggen, still level 1, has taken damage already from Ryu. Bit of extra ball damage there as well from the command attack. Orianna, always a tough laner to go up against, but like you said, Froggen, he knows every mid lane matchup with Anivia.
Yeah, you would assume so. We've been playing it for years, and into Orianna, it's kind of like a classic. We're going back.
We're going very far back.
Like 3+ seasons at this point. Now, Looper does have the shove advantage right now into Zig. He got to the lane a little bit sooner. We'll see if he goes for the Dark Seal build, the multiple Dark Seal build.
Very nice from Froggen. Throws out a bunch of Qs, finally lands one, and that's going to be good damage onto Ryu, but once again, still pushing things through. It looks like P1 win starting to surge. You can hear some non-believing Echo Fox fans in the crowd. As I know, are going to make his way towards this right side scuttle crab. Take that one down, get some control towards the bottom lane. Acadian's here as well, so could maybe see some action here. It looks like both junglers trying to cover a potential 3-on-3. Again, Inori kind of hanging around, seeing where he can get Acadian actually back up, and has been spotted by the looks of things. So Inori going to try and find him, perhaps. See if he can't get some damage down. Acadian a little low. Inori wanted it. He spites the big wolf. That is rude.
Stole it. Oh, almost got that too.
That would have been wonderful. Probably a little low in health as well, so Orianna could also have made her way through.
Exactly, and that's the big thing is Ryu had shove advantage. That synergy between Inori and Ryu seems to be alive and well right now and doing quite good. So he was able to shove up. He knew that Ryu would be able to reinforce first. Froggen chunked out. He does have teleport though on the Anivia, so it will be quite easy for him to get back to the lane.
Really nice looking hook there for Gabe. It doesn't quite connect onto Adrian. And looks like the push has continued here for the Karma Varus, which I think we expect 2-on-2 here. Keith though will just collect once he can. Should be just fine on Ashe. We've seen Ashe arrows already today have such a big impact in the mid to late game. Keith, I'm sure, has sharpened up those sniper skills as well as Acadian. Doing a little bit of counter jungling while he can. After his wolf is taken by Inori, he's going to go ahead and take the wolf camp away from him.
It's an interesting thought as well, like just thinking about how the draft went out and going back to that. The Anivia was picked before the second ban phase. If you expect the enemies to ban Anivia, there might be a better or more optimal pick there for them to go after on Echo Fox's side in that third place slot and wait on picking the Anivia so you know what it's into. But that's Froggen saying, I want to help my team. I want you guys to have the counter picks, or I want you to have a better idea of what you're going up against. I will play Anivia into anything.
And that's actually one of a great highlight in draft, although I think we might have to stop that thought for now as Inori's popped himself over the wall. Lupa locked down by Zig, and this looks like first blood, potentially Acadian shadowing around his own. And Inori commits for it. Now Acadian going to move his way back through. Damage is there. That's going to force the flash from Kha'Zix. And now Zig still getting chased down. Arcadia wants it. He's got the flash. Inori doesn't have his, so another Pro Seek is going to do it. He's going to keep chasing in. He sees and he flashes it. Looks for the auto, and there's the first blood.
Acadian again, both games, first blood for the rookie on Echo Fox.
Rookies are doing well.
Yeah. NA junglers, NA talent.
NA talent looking good. Acadian once again picks up the first blood.
Yep, and then Looper comes back, triple Dark Seals. So the Dark Seal, the increase on the potions by 25% actually stacks, so he's getting 175% of potion efficiency out of that, and it's worth a lot. Froggen does have egg, though. He does have egg.
That's huge, though, to have to save it.
Yeah.
Froggen even wants smoke. This is safe, right? This is totally fine, guys. I mean, it's a cannon wave, so he doesn't really want to move away from it. I love this. This is very Froggen. Level 6.
Ah, there we go.
There's
Waiting on
Acadian
level
covering
6
as well.
And good by Acadian to actually come through and give Froggen a better back here. Ryu will walk up, maybe place the ball for a distortion. Yeah. Place it a little bit closer.
It's fine for Froggen, though, I think.
Yep.
Wasting a bit of Ryu's time.
Well, he does lose more minions to the turret while he's backing then. He will pick up experience for them, but
It's
it's a fake!
It's all a ruse, Irene! Gonna take these two, and now he knows that Ryu's backed up. He has some teleport as well, so he kind of can come back at his leisure.
Bam.
And does Ryu stay? That's so rude! That's blind.
That's blind. Yeah. All right, Froggen. Oh, I see you.
It's in his head now.
All right.
Ryu's like, man, I got ganked twice last game. Now Froggen's reading my mind.
Yeah, and now it's really risky to stay here because if the Rek'Sai just shows up and now Froggen TPing back in, doesn't get to clear out the whole wave, and he'll miss out on 2 minions there, whereas the teleport will allow Froggen to pick these ones up
He's
himself.
pulling the wave as well, so Froggen is really kind of putting his foot down in this lane. In the meantime, Adrian poking down back on Keith's arrow. Adrian still looking good here. Lantern out is nice. Arrow looks for the poke. Keith just barely misses out on a Q to the face. And Looper, here's the flippy. And Zig's like, he's not happy about what's going on here. I mean, he might not die, but what are you supposed to do against triple Dark Seal Corrupting Potion Sin?
It's the triple Dark Seal. No points in W here as well. Just going for straight damage to clear the minion wave and flipping. And also shoving the wave to possibly set up a gank here. We'll see. It's hard to gank a Maokai with Flash, but we'll see right here.
It looks like a proxy, but it could just be a gank. Arcadian gonna try and make it happen. Looper moves his way out, takes one more tower, and it gets a kill!
Oh, and those Dark Seals, 2 across the board. Extra AP for the Singed in the top lane. These are actually such efficient buys as well, because the passive isn't unique, like I said previously. It increases the amount of HP you're getting from the Corrupting Potion. So you're basically thinking in the equation that every stack of Corrupting Potion will give me this much more HP times 3. So you treat it almost like, oh, he's getting a bonus Ruby Crystal on top of that, a Ruby Crystal and a half. And it gives him mana. And Singed passive gives him HP for buying mana. So it's even more on top of that. So Singed is actually quite tanky with just buying these 3 rings that don't have any HP on them innately.
And realistically, what's Zig gonna do? Like, he's a Maokai. This is why people pick Singed into the tank matchups, because they know they can just run around freely. And I like the build from Luke because, like you said, he's just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, and also, like, it is important to note that all those 2s are just for show.
Just for one.
Yeah, you only get one.
Get.
That's unique, of course. But also on top of it is the sell price of Dark Seal is only about, I believe, 100 gold less than the buying price. So when you resell it, you actually don't miss out on a lot at all.
That's
It
good
helps
value.
you ramp up.
That's what that is. This Gate's looking for a hook here. Adrian now can't be seen. That one's going to miss, but Froggen's in. Looking for arrow damages there. Does proc the Thunderlords, and there's the arrow in. That one's going to miss as well. Skill shots all going awry here for Echo Fox's bottom lane, but Froggen ahead in CS, got the early mana items, is starting to push in and roam down towards the bottom lane. Looper playing aggressively and proxying and now moving towards the mid lane. This is kind of what we expected from the top trio for Echo Fox, and this game seems like a much better execution of that plan.
Absolutely, and now that they have an advantage, and it's in the jungle, right? Again, and now it's towards the top lane, so it's not that mid lane, but the mid lane is holding on. There's a teleport for Froggen, so he can kind of just sit around and do what he wants. But this is Looper, hey, hanging out behind your turret, and now Maokai can actually counter proxy and just kind of sit by this turret. Not the same way that Singed does, but gives him a lot of presence.
Nice hook there, play not going to connect, but Gate didn't want to commit following the Q in. Again, it's just all poke at this point. Arrow is perfectly fine, actually up in CS with a very slight item advantage.
Yeah,
the dagger.
It's a good lane advantage as well, just in terms of matchup. But hold on, Gate flashing
Gate's
forward.
Fox there as well. He's low, but they know Arcadian's coming. Arrow, who's going to move in as hook onto Adrian. Teleport's coming in, but Looper, he's there first this time. Arrow, now going to get locked down. Arcadian's going to try and take him out. They will get one, and now Looper once more. Ziggo is joining in as he's going to lock up Looper. Looper, not that tanky. He's going to get taken down. Arcadian gets out from under the tether, and it's a 1-for-1.
Yep, the 1-for-1 trade there. No teleport available for Froggen, and nobody had really advantage in the mid lane until Ryu just now, because he blew the ultimate to try and start a fight with Froggen to prevent him from roaming as well. And now, even though it seems to be even in numbers and Gate now walking back himself, it's going to be a little bit of a push to the turret there in favor of Phoenix1.
Yeah, make sure he pushes all the way in. Bit of extra chip damage there will be nice for later. And like you mentioned, Ryu, looking pretty healthy, committed the ulti for just another bit of harass here. But Froggen, particularly without his teleport, wasn't doing too much as we'll watch this particular engage again.
Yeah, Gate took so much damage trying to engage this. The flash, exhaust, and then the hook hits Adrian because Arrow flashes out of the way, but it still ends up with a kill onto Arrow. And then Zig TP's in, zones them away so that they can pick up Looper. So the Ashe doesn't get much more of the fight afterwards.
Certainly nice to see Looper much faster on the teleport trigger this time, but stayed a little too long, got himself killed. Does have a catalyst now though, so it's going to be even more annoying.
Yeah, very good call there on the fact that Looper was able to pull the trigger a lot faster than Zig in that top lane. He has the lane shove advantage, so every time he proxies 2 waves and he's in between your tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, it's a little bit less safe for Maokai to do that and actually go that far up. So when you actually leave, Looper may have cleared out another minion wave. And so Zig will slowly fall behind in CS because of this.
And now Fox, you can see, roaming again towards the bottom half of the map. Kate's arrows back up. They're going to clear this control ward out of the way. They've got a Drake that they can try and get for themselves as well. It's a Cloud Drake, so they're not rushing straight towards it, but it is nice to see Froggen pushing out his waves more effectively, staying up slightly on CS, which isn't too bad, but trying to affect another part of the map while Looper has just complete control of the top half of the map. And you know, they're not getting kills for Keith just yet, but they're probably keeping Arrow and Adrian busy, and Arrow is a player that we do expect from Phoenix1 to really make things happen. And both Inori and Arrow and Ryu as well, but has not been able to get anything going here. So Echo Fox are doing a nice job getting themselves ahead safely, but also stifling P1's plan.
Yeah, it's much better this game than it was in the last one. They had an early game advantage previously. Also off the back of Acadian, who still has 100 kill participation right now, 100%. Now it looks like he's ganking top lane. Yeah, the Maokai has to push up because he wants to catch the wave here, and they're throwing 3 people at Zig.
So the trap here flips. He's going to land in. Zig's going to flash Arcadian, follows for the knock-up. There's a knockback there for Zig, but Froggen's going to try and cut him off. He's got the flash. They might just dive. Looper going to start taking up the turret. Damage is starting to come in. Great wall from Froggen. Zig dodges the first even. The stun's going to move, and he gets flipped again. And that's an easy kill. Froggen this time gets it.
And they don't get much on the other side of the map for Phoenix1. They have to shove in mid lane and bottom side, and there wasn't any really buffs up here for Inori to take. He just gets wards on the bottom side. And that's going to be another kill going over to Echo Fox off of the back of Acadian making a play. This time Froggen gets the kill on top.
Yeah, able to teleport in this time. Going to take some damage. His turret also under siege, but he's got his Rod of Ages now, so Anivia's going to really start scaling up now that the mana items are ticking up and stacking. And again, bottom lane pressure is nice here from P1. Looks like they will actually get the turret here.
There we go.
Collect that first turret gold. So Fox doing the right things here, kind of putting power where we expected it to be, and I think Keith and Gate, particularly on Ashe and Thresh, are fine to fall a little bit behind here. Although Arrow does have a pretty significant CS lead right now, at least the turret's being equalized by Looper as he does get the top turret for himself.
And the Singe seems to be a great pick for him. I remember played it back at Season 4 Worlds. Everyone's like, what is this guy doing? Has the skin for it, like you said. But that's going to be P1 getting themselves a Cloud Drake.
The advantage of playing to the bottom side of the map is you get the Drake, so pretty easy pickup, but it didn't seem like Echo Fox were too worried about not getting it.
Zig going after Acadian, trying to stop him from taking the jungle, but still he's going to pick that one up. And Looper 2 levels up right now over Zig and has the Righteous Glory completed. This has become a core item on Singe. You go for the Dark Seal build into, not the Roa, but into the Righteous Glory to speed yourself up, flip somebody into your team. Let's talk about Echo Fox. If they botch the engage, it's hard for them to continue the fight. But I mean, it's so hard to mess this up. You run straight at them, you're NASCAR.
Yeah.
That boy, you are a NASCAR Sid.
Like we said, Maokai and Singe do not have equal weights on team fights, as there's a dive. Arrow's going to miss this. Keith flashes a nice arrow onto Inori, but dive still in. Adrian gets the kill this time. P1 even going to commit the teleport. Might try for a push here, as Loopers also win. It's 2v4 escape. Hooks Zig in towards the turret. He gets played back in, and now he gets flipped back. So far towards the turret as Ryu's trying to save his teammate Zig. Tanking up to deliver the good walls there. Might actually not be enough. Great ulti there as Froggen's going to get X. And P1's going to go move back in, but Looper wants back in. Arcadia moves in. Bouncy Castle triple play. Going to turn it all around, and now Looper going to put down the goop, force out Ryu's flash. That was a wonderful turnaround.
Yeah, Gate with the flash and the flay, the perfect setup there. They had to protect Froggen's egg, and P1 got a little bit greedy there. They wanted to kill Froggen even though he had that egg up. We're gonna see it again right here. Great flash from Keith, and then the arrow point blank onto Inori, even though he's trying to dive him under turret. Stays cool, but it causes Inori to dive a little bit far. The flip back from Looper, even though he TP'd on the other side. Gets Sig really far in there. Got to alley-ooped him. And then the flash wall. Shockwave does deal a lot of damage there, and then the Kha'Zix W and auto attack on top of it. But this right here, Gate, beautiful. Walks forward with the play, gets 3 people in it. And then the flash, and gets a flash out of that as well.
And we talked about it. Looper again, so fast to that teleport play. Picked up 5 stacks on his Dark Field as well. Just participating, and that push from P1, bit of an overextension, punished very well by Echo Fox. We're climbing up still in that gold lead. It's not massive, but again, they were always a measured team last year. I feel like if Froggen especially is still leading it, that style of shot calling will be there. But the change seems to be not just the individual talent, but when they do want to go, they're significantly faster.
Yeah, and if you can find a lane to play to as Acadian, where he has 100% kill participation right now, and so does Looper. Looper in the top lane has been contributing so much because he got that early help. This was the person that Acadian decided to unlock this game. Last game it was Froggen and it didn't really work out. And now this is huge because it's 2 levels up still for this Singe, and he's bordering the point where it's really unkillable for how far ahead of the game he is right now.
Ooh, that was a nice lantern.
Gate!
Ryu, whiff that ulti. But Gate once again with a nice big play on Thresh.
Yeah, this Thresh was banned away from him previously. The plays have been on point. Setting up these plays, not afraid. That's the thing, is Echo Fox, you were talking about it. Last year, it seemed like hesitancy. It seemed like, all right, we have a little bit of an advantage. What do we do with it? Gate and also Acadian seem to be really key in making these plays and being aggressive and taking the risk. They aren't really afraid of failure right now is what it looks like. They aren't afraid of flashing forward and looking dumb, like not getting a hook or something, because if you make that play work, you turn the team fight.
And maybe Arcadian and that rookie presence is bringing kind of more of that just style and just a bit more flair to their team and confidence, I think. You know, young players tend to be very confident, especially when they debut in the scene. Arcadian, he said he didn't want to play without regrets. He's doing that so far in the series, and the rest of his team seem to be rallying behind him. And the half of the map we expected to go well for Echo Fox is going exceptionally well this game. And despite the fact they still need to get some turrets down, they're not getting heavily out-rotated, they're not making as many silly mistakes as they might have done in game 1, and really looking to kind of clean things up, take those turrets, and likely fight for that next big objective. Infernal Drake up in a minute 50.
Yeah, and how do you deal with the pressure of this top lane Singe? Now 3 levels up, and he's just gaining more and more of a CS advantage. So he's a large part of that pressure that they'll need in order to start getting these objectives. The Infernal Drake, like you said, in a minute and 30. How does Looper play out the map right now as they lead up to it? Because he's on the inside track to help them get this turret, whereas Arrow is in the top side shoving, and then Keith is on the bottom side shoving.
Yeah.
So.
Smart of Echo Fox to not overcommit to the mid lane without their AD carry. Looper was looking for a potential dive, but all of P1 were there to defend, so good push and pull there from both sides. Looper actually can go back towards that top lane and keep pushing it in. Froggen, plenty of wave clear here. He's going to take down the wave very swiftly and force Ryu and Honori to stay put, and it does seem like they're just keeping control of this side of the river towards the dragon. Not too many wards placed in the area just yet, but kind of enough coverage to think that when it comes up, it's probably safe for us to take it.
And that's where Fox has their wards allocated. It's the right side towards the Infernal Drake, and the left side is rather barren for them, though. They don't have much coverage, but they have Looper on the top side of the map, and if he were to run into the Baron Pit and they were doing it, he could pop ulti and Crystal's Blast, Corrupting Potion, and just run around for a bit.
Froggen has teleport as well, so I think more opportunities to make plays stretched across the map rather than having to stick to them, maybe more traditional 4-1. In the meantime, though, plenty of time to kill with 20 seconds till that Drake comes up. So Echo Fox going to see if they can't pick somebody off. They've got good pink ones on this side. That's a good hook as well onto Adrian. Keith does not follow him with the arrow, but they're keeping this side blind.
Looper ended up backing, sorry about that. He buys the Rylai's, selling the Dark Seal for himself, and now he's just an absolute menace. He has so much HP, even though he doesn't have much in terms of magic resistance. He looked like he had 144 armor there.
Not too shabby, and he's actually going to...
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. 66 armor. So I was like, I saw it for a brief second.
No, that was the AP, actually.
I was like, where's he getting that armor? That seems ridiculous. So he's mostly a health tank, and then when he uses the ultimate, it's a regen stats tank at that point for the Singe. He doesn't usually buy those items that give him those defenses, like magic resistant armor.
Look at the current damage on the P1 carries, and they probably don't have enough to really put a dent in him as Froggen bursting down Adrian.
That's a dent.
Almost two-shots him with a bit of help from Thunderlords, but the Infernal Drake We're going to go over here to Echo Fox. Going to try and stop him, but Arrow as well. Hooked in there, and Froggen's going to take him down. Ryu with a beautiful ulti going to turn around, but Froggen is going to pop this on his Inori.
Inori in the back.
Again, and he's actually flanked perfectly. Froggen turned into an Aegis. Keith's going to go down. P1 again. Go off in this fight. They turn it around. The Drake goes to Fox, but that means nothing. His Arcadian's shut down as well.
A huge turnaround, and the Baron is also on the table here. Looper, now he has to just push the bottom lane. He wasn't able to disrupt the fight enough, and they used so much there, but P1 come out on top, and now they're going to swing the game back into their favor.
We keep seeing it in straight up fights. P1 looking so good together. And Looper, despite the advantage in the top lane, isn't the same team fighting tank that Zig is. This Baron's going to go over to P1, and game is completely turned around now. They'll get the gold lead, they'll take the Baron. And Echo Fox, that was a hard punish for one little Drake.
Oh yeah, and that was Ryu and Inori, the synergy. Inori is flanking, Ryu gets a 3-man shockwave here, throws it there, boom, 3 people in, and Zig gets in immediately. Froggen forced to Zhonya's, and now Inori cleanup duty. Threat on the AD carry. Doesn't matter that the other people were chunked out. Your AD carry's still healthy, and it Cosmic is right on top of him.
Katie going to go down from the end there. Good protection actually on Arrow means he didn't go down.
These are such huge threats from Inori and Ryu right now. They're just playing out of their mind from behind. They're how they got back into the game last game. Zig came down as well, but he's been shut down this game. So Ryu and Inori seem to be actually really on top of their game right now.
He reflects there in the team fight damage. Arrow also for not dying did a considerable chunk as well.
Looper did a drive-by. He's just there for 310 damage. Bye, guys. It looks unwinnable. I'm out of here.
He was kind of right by that point it was, so booking it maybe not the worst thing, but this Baron's going to be tough for Echo Fox to clean out. Olivia's got good wave clear, but there's a nice shockwave again. Arcadian almost sniped out. That's a kill. Ryu, barely enough damage. He gets himself arrowed, but he balls out there. Going to protect himself with the shields with a bit of help from Adrian as well. And with Arrow just firing high-powered Qs under these turrets as they try and protect them, it's a tough seed for Echo Fox to try and deal with, particularly this early into the game.
Oh man, I was looking at it again. It's a red buff. Froggen had a red buff, or sorry, Ryu had a red buff on him, and he just takes out Arcadia from afar. And now this siege with the Baron buff, everybody has to back up. They're pinging that there's some wards behind them that Looper could possibly TP to, but Froggen
Chunked out again, Adrian hook, but that's not enough. Good big shield, and they're actually diving in for it. Teleport onto the top, and it's got Gate! He's already down, and that TP is just gonna move in. Looper can't do anything as that tower falls on P1. Breaks straight through the middle. Looper caught down now as well, not nearly tanking enough through that, and P1, the train's still going.
There's so much damage here between the 3 members of Inori, Ryu, and also Arrow on top of it, and they're gonna try to push here. Froggen, he does have the ultimate to just clear out. So hard to siege against the Sinivia, but they have the Baron buff. They have a lot of damage. Zig is tanky if he wants to tank.
Oh, Froggen, great.
Zig's gonna wait for it.
He's going for it. He got Froggen. Arrow takes him down. Arcadian gonna fall here as well. Inori straight to the backlash, ripping people to pieces. Gate can flame into the laser. No, not quite as his team protects him. And P1, they'll plow through Echo Fox. They'll take down the turret, and they're gonna try and end this one.
At P1, amazing performance, both from comebacks here. Game 1 and Game 2. There's one for the road, and they're going to take it.
Looper barely respawns in time to see his team get ace. The Nexus open and bare as Phoenix1 sweep through Echo Fox for their first game of the year.
Oh, Nori jumps in. No fantasy for you. Crazy performance there, and you can see the sigh of relief from Phoenix1. Playing from behind at the start, but their team fighting on point. They have had fights from a deficit both times to get them back into the game, and it's just off of execution. Ryu, Inori, backline threats. It's once again, feel like it'll be a lot of the same of what happened in that last game on the analyst desk, because that Orianna shockwave, just like the way that Ryu entered with Lissandra in the last game, and then Inori backline threat.
And this time around, things did look much better from Echo Fox. Top half of the map all went well. Looper crushing his lane, Froggen doing perfectly fine and getting kills and skirmishes, and also roaming to try and affect other parts of the map. All the pieces were there for things to go right for Echo Fox, but Phoenix1, there is just something about this team, at least in this series, it just felt like when they grouped, they could do no wrong in a team fight.
Yeah, they have a very good macro game, but also it seems like they are on top of their team cohesion and on top of when to pull the trigger and how to counter. And you can see the experience from these guys.
And you know what?
Coming through.
With 2 new import players, with a fresh new roster after last year, you know, they did have the boot camp together in Korea. They've had some time to gel together, but it's been, what, maybe a month? And that's a very cohesive-looking team early on in the season. Very impressive stuff from P1.
It's great when you look at a team, it's like they can play and snowball the game, but to be able to come back from a deficit, even if it's small, but an early game deficit where you are down multiple kills and your laners are suffering, that's actually a really big feat because you have to figure out how you're going to tackle the game from there. This Singe is out of control. How do we get around that? How do we circumvent that issue long enough to actually have the team fight we need? And they ended up coming out on top. Ryu deathless that game as well.
Certainly an amazing game there, but we have to look at Echo Fox. Still a solid performance. I said that, you know, fixing team synergy does not happen, you know, just overnight in a game, but they really did clean up a lot after that first game. It's always a rough road for Echo Fox, I feel like, particularly with how poorly they performed last split, but the pieces do seem to be there. I'm sure they'll work on these things, and this is just definitely a team that I think can just keep getting better week after week, assuming their attitude's right, and you have to think with Rick Fox behind them, this is a team with still plenty of potential.
Yeah, Echo Fox, of course, they made those roster moves, but like you were talking with Reggie, do they know how to use them just yet? It does take time to integrate people into the roster, to get their spirits up, to get the cohesion going, whereas P1, it does look like they've had a little bit more time to gel as a whole team, right? The boot camp coming in December, taking it very seriously from day one, and having about 8 days to scrim, but it seems to be paying off for them so far, and they were on an upward trajectory at the end of last split. Where does this actually place them in the standings?
I guess we're going to find out because it's certainly a great start here, but we are going to pass it over to the analyst desk to talk about how Phoenix1 sweep the series.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Phoenix1 off to the races here with a 2-0. Both of our series tonight being 2-0. They're trying to get us out of here quickly this evening. But for Phoenix1, again, it was kind of what seemed to be a greater understanding of the macro game that let them ultimately take this game over an Echo Fox that was securing a lot of kills very early on.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, great team fighting as well. You know, well, these guys still do have some bumps they have to iron out. Their team fighting was solid. You can see the individual skill really shining through for Phoenix1 this game. Even up against Echo Fox on a lot of comfort picks, they still looked good.
Yeah, well, you mentioned comfort picks, and then, of course, the team fighting that came along with it. Let's go ahead and look at that champion slide, because we got Looper on his championship skin in Singe. That's a comfort pick. Anivia, comfort pick there. Ashe, the more utility-type ADC for Keith, and then the Thresh that was banned in the prior game against Gabe. Boom, they've got a lot of picks they clearly won.
Yeah, they definitely did, and Acadian gets to go back to the Rek'Sai, something that every pro jungler is going to be comfortable on, so they really did draft for comfort this time, and I think that kind of speaks to, hey, they're still getting some early season jitters out of the way. They're still not fully together as a team, so draft what you're comfortable with and try to go with that, and it was working out for them pretty early in the game.
But I do think that's where then, of course, we saw things fall apart with the superior team fighting comp coming out of Phoenix1 here. If the Orianna shockwave hits, then, of course, it can spell disaster for that Echo Fox lineup. I want to jump to our first replay, though, which is in the the bot lane. This is going to go in favor of Echo Fox off of P1 aggression.
Yeah, and I mean, they're trying to go for this dive here. And Nori does get the execute, but Singed with the TP very early on that for Looper. The whole team is able to come in, and they are able to clean a lot of this up. And honestly, this is pretty aggressive for P1 going that far. Zig taking so much turret damage, and the whole team is kind of getting chunked out here. They stick around way too long. Acadian's able to get in, Gate's able to get in, landing some really nice CC there. Froggen's protected in his egg, and they're able to kind of clean up that fight.
Yeah, it was a super good recovery out of Echo Fox there, but this does kind of illustrate some of the same issues that they had last year. They're able to pick up kills, and clearly within small microcosms, able to operate as a team at a high level, but it is seemingly in the more strategic elements where we see things still falling apart and where Phoenix1 came out on top. We're going to get back to some analysis, but before we do, we're going to toss it down to an interview with one of our winners.
Thank you very much, Dash. I am here with Inori, one of the returning members of Phoenix1. Congratulations, first of all, on the 2-0.
Well, thank you.
All right, so I want to talk to you about the new lineup coming together, right? Phoenix1 had a very rough start to summer. You weren't even allowed in the lineup for a little while. You finally come in. You sort of barely avoid relegation. Now you're back at full power at the very start. So now, rising from the ashes, how high is Phoenix1 going to go?
I mean, I think the finals are in Vancouver, and that's like my hometown. So, like, my goal right now is just to go to the finals. So I think P1 can go to the finals, because I hope... Yeah, I really hope we can go to the finals. I think we're a good team, and I think we're going to keep improving.
So speaking of being a good team, we had an interview earlier on with TSM's owner Reginald, and he said basically that he doesn't really believe in importing a bunch of Koreans, that playing a mixed language team is very difficult. He called out Team Dignitas as being a bottom 5 team because of this. What's your experience been like playing with Aero and Ryu, 2 Korean players, and how that gelling has kind of gone?
I think the game is shifting into like a big team and like team synergy thing. So I definitely think communication is a huge part. That's why I think when you're importing Koreans, you have to find ones that actually know some English. Like not knowing the basic like terminology is a big thing. So I think we got lucky because Ryu went to EU for 2 years or something, like 1 year and a half, and he learned like pretty fluent English. Like he shot calls, and the funniest part is because like he went in EU, so he has like an EU accent. So like that caught me off guard to see like a Korean speaking in English was like an EU accent. But yeah, he's like such a lovable guy, and Aero too is improving his English, and he can. Yeah, I think we got lucky with our Koreans, but I think Reginald's statement is kind of true because communication is a big part.
Definitely. So talking about other parts of this game, I don't know if you heard it, but we had a couple interviews with Acadian that we had taped before coming into this match, and he was talking some smack about you. Actually, I think he called you overrated. He said you can only play from ahead, that you cheese people, but you're overall a bad jungler. What do you feel about? Is there an Inori Acadian rivalry? Is this something you care about at all?
I'm happy he gets a chance to play in LCS, but I think talk is just talk. Like when you play on stage is where it really matters. I don't think you need to like shit talk. You just I want to be a player who can be more respected and inspire people to be more humble. Like that's my new approach this season because I want people. I don't want to be another toxic jungler. I think NA has a bit too many toxic junglers, so I don't want to join into that.
NA has too many toxic junglers, and Inori's going to clean up the jungle and make it great again. Inori, thank you very much. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you playing tomorrow, I believe it is. Thanks very much. Back to the analysts.
Thank you, Freak. The confidence that we've come to know and love out of Inori, but also, a few humbling moments there talking about, bringing in the Koreans and having to overcome that communication gap, but says that they're equipped well with the 2 that they have and their understanding of the English language so far.
Yeah, and I think it is very, very important. If you can't communicate the basics, especially in like high intensity situations, aka League of Legends team fights, then you're gonna struggle, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they at least have to have the basics and the right attitude. Like Inori's talking about, his teammates coming in, they want to learn, they want to improve, and if you're working together as a squad, then having these really talented Korean players can benefit.
Yeah, and here on day 1, they even had a couple team fights that looked to be very in sync. The game-winning team fight, essentially, here that we're going to pull up. This is around the Dragon Pit, will eventually net them a Baron and all, but Ryu coming off big.
And I mean, this is a great start, right? Aero gets stunned, Aero gets hooked, and then the shockwave turns the whole fight around from Ryu. He nails it. The resets start coming out from Inori. They're able to jump around and really just turn around what should have been a bad fight for them. It's not that often that your Varus gets stunned into a hook and then you win the fight,
and
right?
It lives, right? But of course, Inori with a nice flank positioning there was able to disrupt Echo Fox's team fight. Player of the game, though, going to go to Ryu for big shockwaves like that. Of course, his scoreline here, you see Deathless, so a great start to him here in the North American LCS.
Yeah, I mean, he put up big damage, he played safe, never died, and really that was the fight that kind of broke the camel's back. Echo Fox was looking good throughout the game. That shockwave turned around, got them Baron, and really got them the win.
Now, of course, this is only week 1. We've heard some big talk between these junglers. We're here to Nori say it's all about what you do on the stage. How did you feel he individually did today?
Hey, I think he did great. He had a bit of a slow start on the Rengar, but he really did shine through in the later stages of the game. He also did look solid on the Kazakhs, but some props has to go over to Acadian. His debut was not bad whatsoever. He had good starts. He really did give Froggen in game 1, especially the chances to carry the game. He wasn't able to convert, but he has a solid performance too.
I think that's the biggest thing to know. We saw that video package of him earlier in the day where he's talking about for him, he wants to come into the LCS and maintain his aggressive play style. He did that, right? Whether they win or lose today, and loss was the result. He was aggressive. He got those early first bloods. Now it's about learning how to convert those first bloods and those early kills into victories. Now, there's not much to look at, but let's go ahead and check out the standings in case you missed tonight's results. Cloud9 and Phoenix1, they're going to start the season with wins under their belt, alone at the top. But the weekend is just getting started, so they won't be alone for long. Tomorrow we have 4 matches across both streams, starting with CLG versus Team Liquid on NALCS 1, followed by Envy versus newcomers FlyQuest. And over in the Battle Theater, Echo Fox will play against Immortals in the first match, followed by the return of Dignitas as they face off against Phoenix1.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix1 and the Echo Fox match, these are really going to be big ones. How good is Echo Fox? And really, I think Dignitas, their first test against Phoenix1, they look good. I think Dignitas, despite what Reggie says, has a lot of potential.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, I mean, in spite of what Reginald said, I'm very excited for this team. That it's an old organization that we know and love here in the NALCS, and they're back, but with a totally different roster. We got some big ticket players on that squad, so we'll see how they perform. That is going to conclude our first day of the 2017 season, but it all starts here. So now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
So I'm going to ask you to join me in welcoming our defending champions, TSM! Gentlemen, if you would do the honor in helping us commemorate your 4th NALCS title.
And he's up 100 over Biofrost, so the golden, look at that contracts! He's gonna get a first blood!
Enemy fish? No, they didn't finish, they're not finished. I'm talking back. Go. I heard you contract. I'm okay.
Gun in the Hotzer as well. Here comes the attempt to steal. Who's it gonna be? Nice pick out. He flashes, he gets there and steals the bear, and now the fight is on. Yes, look at the kill, but that is so worth it in every possible way for TSM. Now it's up for Smoothie to keep them alive. Voldy's gonna tag onto 4. They cop Biofrost. Down goes a TSM support. Hook into the back line. Bjergsen's gotta be careful on this one. Pops the ulti. A little for Jensen. Redemption. Now it's 3 for him. Impact still alive in the front line. Refuses to go down. It's Cloud9. 2-0 over TSM.
Welcome to the LCS, Looper.
Huh?
Welcome.
Yes.
Yes. Because this is Acadian, the rookie, trying to make play.
Going in, Ryu does get a great flash, but it's not enough. Still knocked up, and there's first blood for Rek'Sai. Needs to go back in, but gets himself exhausted. Keith goes down as Nori. Goes over to take him down. Ryu just launches himself into the team. Arrow's gonna get the shot down, and P1 looking to clean up the team fight. And P1's gonna go move back in, but Looper wants back in. Arcadia moves in. Bounty Castle triple play. Gonna turn it all around.
Ash. Okay. Anivia.
Rek'Sai no flash.
Oh, nice. You live. Go mid.
Oh my god.
Hey, how'd that fight even? Good shit.
Phoenix1 sweep through Echo Fox for their first game of the year.